What's the motherfucking deals? Yeah, switch it up on y'all. I had to hit y'all with the new little intro, man. What y'all think about that? Y'all fucking with it or y'all not? Yeah, you know, we didn't change it up to the TV. Got a little remote on there. You know what I'm saying? Got tired of looking at the old same old. But welcome to the den, man. And you know where opinions are welcome. You know, if it's uncensored, however you feel, you know, the real deal. And we'll open up the den line and all those good things. If you're new to this, the den is a conversation, man. It's a place where you can express how you feel on whatever the topic is of the day. And occasionally, if you have something else on your mind that needs to be discussed, we'll talk about it. But tonight is a little bit of a serious topic. Kind of want to stay focused on this because I think there's a few things that will come out of this story, and I'm pretty sure there's more to go. And the reason I've been kind of hesitant on talking about this for a little while now, it's been going on. I think what happens is the first, so it's damn near a week that it's been happening. But before we get into that, man, I'm your host, Ed Honcho. We have a well-known gentleman joining us this evening. I know y'all have been requesting, so back by popular demand. Who do we have joining us this evening, man?
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Man Up here, coming at you, joining Mr. Honcho again for another great show. So sit back, get your popcorn, let's talk about it.
Already. So, the situation we're going to discuss tonight. For those of you who are not familiar with the Jasmine Barnes situation, I want to say right around Christmas Day, not Christmas Day, I want to say it was around the 1st. And don't let me lie to y'all to getting the facts a little bit incorrect. That's why I put the disclaimer up. But, that this young lady was with her mom, and I believe they went out to go get some coffee and thing. Her family was in town. I believe they said they were leaving Walmart. I've heard, it seemed like the story kind of switched up a little, but they said they were leaving Walmart, and a red truck pulls up on them and opens fire, hitting a couple people in the car and killing 7-year-old Jasmine Barnes. Now, as the story was first released, it was pushed out that it was a white male. I don't really know what the age range is. They put out a sketch, and a lot of stuff was going on. And I was I was thinking of it, and the energy behind it was, racism. They trying to kill us. They trying to do all that, but it was just something about this story. And I would talk to my old lady about this. Something about this story wasn't sticking. And I wasn't saying it wasn't a white person. I wasn't saying, but it just seemed like if it was a white person on a rampage, we know how y'all do when y'all wild out. Y'all start taking out everybody. So it just seemed odd that it was just one anonymous attack. And now, before I get too deep into it, let me I forgot to let me talk to the friends who we got join us in the den this evening. Look, I almost got into the story, I almost forgot. I see Dr. Rabbit, I see 335. Jay Dizzle, what's the motherfucking deal? Jair, what's the motherfucking deal? Heidi, Baker Man, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Eastside Hero, what's the motherfucking deal? Cavity Creep, what's the motherfucking deal? And okay, there we go. So here's my deal, man. And again, and I've seen the narratives around it because it was just so much energy when it was, again, like I say, it was a white guy. But then it turns out that it was 2 black gentlemen that they have arrested for the crime. One of them, I don't know if he's been quite charged yet, but apparently he's been the shooter. So I'm assuming that, the first guy they got went ahead and, gave him the information. But he let the cops come in and they found a weapon on his premises. And basically he said that, they didn't realize that they had killed or they, did what they did until they saw it on the news. And so, speculation was that it could have possibly been gang related or whatever it is. Basically that they said they opened fire on the wrong vehicle. I've seen the speculations, it could be a setup. It's like sometimes you got to let it go and let it be what it be. And what I mean by that is, why is it so? Huh? Okay, I'm getting some breaking up there. Let me see where we at here. All right. Give me a second here. Let me know if this, if we sound a little better over here. Make sure everything is where it is. Okay. Let me see if this sounds. Let me know if that sounds a little bit better. But here's my thing, man. And I've seen a lot of people, sitting here saying that, well, they feel like I can understand they think it's a setup or they think it's deeper or this, they're trying to prevent a race war or all these other things. Man, I don't believe none of that because here's the deal. One, if we was talking about a race war and all this other stuff, that should have happened way back with the South Carolina situation. So if it ain't happened with that situation, then it's not ever going to happen. Sometimes, like I say, we got to accept that, man, when we fucking up, man. And I know it's unfortunate, but my big deal about this is why don't we give the same energy to ourselves when we fucking shit up and when we attacking ourselves as we would when it's someone outside of our, cause it's okay when we do it to ourselves, but when it's somebody outside of the race, then it becomes a big issue. But hey, nobody bats an eye when it's us. Like, I mean, just shit, you just had the situation and shit. There's live footage from the stupid ass shit that happened in fucking California in the fucking bowling alley. They got basically footage of the motherfucker coming there shooting that bitch up, and you see they got footage of the people dying and that bitch, and then, but there's the same energy wasn't pushed to that. It's just, this is what I'm saying, like, and there could be a couple of factors to it. And one of those things could be, okay, well, maybe because they found, who did it, so now we don't care as much. But again, the whole idea behind it, especially when Sean King gets behind shit, I can't stand fucking Sean King, looking like a 2% TI. My thing about that is just, why don't we care that much when it's happening in our own neighborhoods? Why is it always got to be this one big thing and we got to push this idea of racism? I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, so like miss me with that. I'm not ever gonna say that, but I'm saying why do we devote so much attention to it when we got our own issues constantly going on in our own neighborhoods, man? And my thing is if we cared as much about it when we do it to ourselves, I think a lot of these problems would get eliminated. But it's only when somebody outside the culture or somebody of an opposite race, we believe these things, then it becomes an issue. Let's push forward. We got people donating money and doing all this. And I think they kind of got, I don't want to say they got duped, because who knows, you know what I'm saying? Maybe when, everything kind of cleared up, it could have been shots fired. Shit, the other cars that could have been around might have been trying to speed off because they didn't know who they were shooting at. It was a random attack. Maybe they didn't want to get. Maybe the first thing she saw was a white guy in a red truck. I don't know the full details. But all I'm saying is, why don't we, ultimately everything's fucked up. They caught whoever, the little girl's dead. That's the most fucked up part about it. And as me and Manup were discussing, right prior to the stream, he has a daughter. I have basically a daughter. I don't, that's how I look at it, like she's mine. And I could only imagine how I would feel in a situation like that. I'd probably want to, gut a motherfucker with my bare hands in a situation like that. Why don't we care on the same level when it's our own? And that's the thing that fucks me up, man. And that's the thing that fucks me up, because it's like when it's us, who cares? We just do, this is what we do. But when it's somebody, now they're monsters, now they're this, they're that, but we're doing it to ourselves on a daily fucking basis, man. And that's the shit that needs to fucking stop. That's the shit that needs to fucking get cleaned up. I'm not caring about how we appear to anybody else or whatever the fuck that is. It's about us and how we got to take care of ourselves. Especially, you give people the blueprint on how to treat you. So if we fucking ourselves off, how the fuck is somebody else gonna give a fuck about fucking you off? And this is what I'm saying, man. But man, I want to kind of know your thoughts, what you think about the story. How do you see, some of these things, and just, your overall opinion on the outcome or what we know so far?
Well, to go ahead and be honest with you, man, the first time I heard about this story is when I heard DeAndre Hopkins said he was going to donate his game check to that family, for her funeral. And when I first heard it, I was like, I didn't hear nothing about it. I was like, what the hell? So I immediately looked it up, what they was talking about. And then when I saw it, I saw that little girl. She was on his what's the word I'm looking for? On his social media feed. When I saw it, and I would immediately. Everybody knows I have a little girl. Yeah, even my adult son, even if it happened to him, I'd be going crazy. But everybody knows I have a little girl. And when I saw that kind of hit me right here in the heart. It hit me hard in the heart. Even though I don't know this little girl, never met the little girl. Like I said, that was my first time hearing about it, like a few days before the wild card game. And when he said he was going to do that, I was like, well, what? Then I looked it up, and I'm like, wow. And when I was reading the story, they were saying they didn't know for sure if it was a random act of violence, if it was an accident, or if it was mistaken identity or whatever. They didn't know. So I was like, man, I hope they find out who it is that got this. And then when I was just like you, Honcho, when you told me you wanted to talk about this topic, I did a little bit of research before, so I can, at least know what I'm talking about. And excuse me, sorry. But when I did a little bit of research and I started to think, I heard that it was, a non-black person. I don't like to use the term black, white, Hispanic, all that, but y'all know how I feel about that. But when I saw that it was a non-black person, I heard that it was a non-black person that did it, I started hearing all that stuff too about, it's race thing and blah, blah, blah. They trying to kill. I heard all that stuff too. It kind of reminded me of that, I think it was North Carolina, South Carolina, wherever, when that man came and shot up that church a few years ago. And that kind of made me think about that situation, how people started talking. Then when I saw that they found out who it was, I was like, wait a minute, these ain't, no non-black people. These are black people. But then, just like you said, I started hearing all that race war stuff. Just basically, it didn't die down. It disappeared. So my thing is this here. First of all, why would you go out and do some dumb nonsense shit like that in the first place. Excuse my language, I'm sorry, but it just kind of hits home because everybody knows. Like I said, I have a little girl, and it just makes me just oof. Then on top of that, why would we as our own people sit here and try to justify it? You know what I'm saying? Or just stop talking bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Just try to ignore it, I should say, is the word I should be using. Why is that? Here's the thing that I don't understand. When it's a non-black person killing black people, we go crazy. We start all these riots and we want to try to protest and all that crap. But when it's a black person doing it to a black person, then we want to say, oh, they wrong, and blah, 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 and they just basically ignore it. When it shouldn't be that way. Look, this little girl, no matter what her race was, this little girl was murdered for no apparent reason. You have no reason to murder a 7-year-old girl. You have no reason to murder anybody, period. But I'm just saying, a 7-year-old girl. Why in the hell? It don't make no sense to me. So my personal opinion is this. He said he didn't know what happened, what he exactly did until he saw it on the news. Me personally, I think he should have got up and went and turned himself in. It shouldn't have took no police to investigate, to come find out, you know what I'm saying, who it was. To me, you're a coward. I'm trying to watch my language because my little girl's right upstairs, but you're a coward. It don't make no sense to me. First of all, none of that stuff should have even took place. Then when you found out what you did, you should have walked up and said, I did it. You know what I'm saying? Just be, at least have some kind of shred of dignity. You know what I'm saying? Even though there ain't no dignity to that, I mean, y'all get what I'm saying. At least, you know what I'm saying, say, have the balls to come out and say, okay, I messed up. I'm willing to, I made my bed and I'm willing to lie in it. Because that there is just unacceptable. Unacceptable. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And I see, they're saying that they say they mistakenly shot in the wrong car and all this other stuff. How do you make a mistake like that? Just because a car looks like, something that you're looking for now. When I was talking to my old lady about it, because like I said, we just discussed it, but there was just something strange about it. It was just something, the whole story didn't quite add up to me because, again, like I say, generally, let's not be, like I said, we're going to be honest here. If you see a situation with a white person going on a rampage and shooting, usually they're just shooting any and everybody. I felt like it would have been more victims. It wouldn't have been one isolated case and then just go hide. I mean, I felt like it would have to be a different motive if it was some hatred or something like that involved in it. It's not. That's why I couldn't see it as a race case. It had to be, to me, it was something different, unless it was a argument that was had prior. If it was to me, and that's why I say initially I was like, man, something about this isn't adding up. And so, that's why I say I just kind of chilled on it. I briefly mentioned it the other day. That I felt bad about the situation, but I didn't want to speak on it because, again, like something just wasn't making sense. And so I know the energy that flows around, people like to get in the middle of stuff, and then, you start saying things, and it turns out that those things are not really that accurate. And now, so you had a bunch of people that said a bunch of stuff, made a bunch of videos and all these other things that, really aren't putting out facts. And I don't have all the facts, so I'm not acting like I'm giving you the news, but I'm just giving you an opinion, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, why is this situation always the same? If it's always believed to be somebody else, it was a situation a long time ago. Right when Trump was getting elected, and I knew it was a fake situation where a black church got burned down and Trump was written on the side, and then it turns out it was one of the pastors or one of the people from the church did it to get money on GoFundMe, and so my thing is, man, like it's not even, it's about her, and it's about her getting justice. Ultimately, we're thankful for that, but it's an underlying problem that I see within the culture, because, again, it's always outside, it's a problem inside. Okay, well, hey, that's just kind of what happens. That's just kind of how it goes. It'd be like that. There's no justification for knowing it was the wrong car. Whoever you had beef with, if you ain't see him in the car, what the fuck you just randomly shooting for? You couldn't confirm that was them in the vehicle, then maybe that wasn't your time to hit them or get them or whatever you got going on. That's your business. I can't tell nobody how to live their life. I have my own opinions on it, but I'm not gonna tell whatever you in. I don't know. Maybe they was after you. You trying to get them before they get you. Whatever it may have been, I don't know. That's none of my business. But I do know that you made the wrong decision. A little girl got killed. An innocent little girl didn't have shit to do with it. And it's fucked up, man. It's real unfortunate. But again, like I say, now the conversation has died. The conversation needs to be about now. Why are we continuing to do this to ourselves? Why are we continuing to think it's okay? Why are we continuing to justify this shit? This should be a wake-up call, if anything. It shouldn't be about pointing the fingers everywhere else. We need to start having these conversations about what are we going to do to fix our problem? What are we going to do to start eliminating this? And, we get to a lot of those conversations. We talked about the hood here recently. We talked about the hood mentality. We talked about, and then some of the calls like, hey, man, you just got to get up and get out and get away from that stuff. But that's why I say it's important for the people that are in it, because they may not have anything to do with it and they still get caught up in it. Could be a situation. I don't know their family situation. I don't know the whole details, but maybe that might have been. What if it was the right car and it was somebody in their family that was out doing some dirt that maybe they don't know about? It could be a whole lot of things. And that's why I say you got to, I don't know the fucking details. I just know shit that I know niggas do, from when I was doing nigga shit, and we're not gonna go too far in all that dumb shit, but I just know things that could happen. And so my deal is, how do we change? How do we adjust? How do we stop doing this shit? Is the only solution to really move away from our own people? Is there no solution to help our own people? Like, hey, let's get this shit together. Let's get this shit figured out. And why do we continue to do this? Like, what is it? Is it really the conditioning? I know we get some calls in, and I know Ernest has called a couple times. He talks about conditioning and then the mentality. Like, is it so deep that we hate ourselves that we don't care if we do this to ourselves? What solution can we come up with? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's kind of what I want to get to tonight. Like I say, they've caught him. We'll see what happens with the case. Again, it is what it is right now. But there's so much more to go. This is just, what do you think, man? Man up. Like, what is a realistic solution? I know for yourself that you make some changes in your life, make some changes in your decision, and get away from certain old things. I know similar situation for myself, man. Getting away from old things, because you stick around that stuff, you can easily get drawn back into shit like that. What do you think is a solution? What do you think is a reasonable outcome? Is it just really having to get away? Is it starting and separate? What is it that has to be done, man, to start erasing this mentality?
I think what needs to start happening is use this right here. Use your brain. I ain't talking about the Rockets logo. Excuse me. I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, but use your brain. Use this. You know what I'm saying? Look, unless somebody's trying to kill you, you have no reason to be trying to kill, to go and kill. And like you just said, though, what I'm talking about, use your brain. What did you just say? Okay, my good friend could have, brought my car and went and did some crap. And then you see my car. Oh, that it go right there. But I even looking at it, look at who's in the car and be like, oh no, that ain't them. Your first thought just start shooting. Use this right here. Use this. First of all, think before you do anything. I tell this to my little girl all the time. Before you do anything, think about it. Now, once you start thinking, then a whole lot of other situations can prevent things using your brain. The first thought in your head is, oh, this motherfucker talking shit, or whatever the case was. Like you said, I don't know the full story of why they went to go do this, what happened, all that. But the first thing here is that your first thought is to go and try to kill them. That don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense. And I do think we need to stop doing this to ourselves. Like you just said, how you expect other people to give us respect if we ain't respecting our own selves? It's like, I can't just walk up to you, slap the shit out of you, and say, you're going to respect me. No, you're going to end up slapping me back. And probably do something worse, because I just all of a sudden slapped you for no reason. So you're going to end up might do something worse to me. It's just like common sense, man. It don't make no sense to me at all. I for the life of me, don't get it. And excuse me. And when me and you was talking about, having this topic, I was talking with my wife about this, and my wife was like, it's sad. It really is sad. But a lot of black people still have this slavery mentality to hurt each other. And I did one quote, even though I don't like Jay-Z at all, But he made a good point in that one song. He said, "How we still slaves in 2016" is when he made that song. But he said, "How we still slaves in 2016? How are we still slaves? None of us alive had anything to do with slavery mentality." Now I get where my wife was coming from. You know, that was ingrained in black people, and it just kind of like racism. It just keeps going and going and going and going and never will stop. But it needs to stop. It needs to. Because where are we getting with this? Where are we getting with this? We're not getting anywhere. We're hurting ourselves for no apparent reason. Now, here's the thing. I know y'all heard that old saying, I forget exactly how it goes, but if you kill my dog, I kill two of your cats, or something like that. It goes something like that. Now, somebody in that family can burn them alive until they just can't burn them no more. Then here they come and try to get you and your family. Then what? See what I'm saying? Like I say, this is a never-ending cycle that needs to end. This is one of those things that, like I said, we as people need to, especially us black people, because be honest with you, I don't hear any other race doing this to each other like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always willing to be corrected. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. But I don't hear any other race doing this to each other like this.
Not in America, not like this. You know, maybe in Mexico or whatever else, in that type of situation. But here in America, I don't see as many different cultures, as many different backgrounds that people come from. You don't see it. And the thing about it, like I say, it kills me, is because it's not necessarily even just black. I mean, if you want to use the skin tone black, but it's black Americans, because Africans, they come here, they get together, they win. Other races, they come here, they get together, they win. We've been here, we cannot get together, we don't win, and that's the problem. And I think that and again, I think it goes back to mentality. I think it goes back to ignorance and things like that. But you do see black people with a different mindset. Like I see people say, get up out, go elsewhere, and you might have to be selective on who you fuck with, and find people of like mind and build different communities. I mean, it's a thing a lot of people don't know. There are a lot of well-to-do black communities in America, but they don't get talked about necessarily because you're not hearing shit come out of them motherfuckers. You don't hear these things come out of these countries, And let's be realistic. Every race got gangs. Every race got, criminals and everything. Is not just saying, only blacks are the criminals, but we're most accepting of it. Other races, they push them motherfuckers out. They don't, generally associate with them, or they don't generally glorify the culture. They don't generally embrace the negativity in the way that we do. We were talking about some other things. We were talking about music and things the other day, and I was just sitting here looking at it, because I want to say last night or the other night we were talking about R&B and how much it's changed. I think because we kind of on the topic of the R. Kelly thing for a little bit, but you look at how much R&B has changed. It used to be love making music. It used to be about love, relationships, things of that sort. Now it's straight fucking. Now you got the rap music is fuck you, I got more this than that to you, fuck you, I ain't got no friends. It pushes an environment of discord. But this is the shit that we promote. All the black artists that are number one in everything are really pushing a lot of negative views. You may have one or two here or there, but if we talk about a percentage wise, it may be 5% that is pushing beneficial shit, and they didn't get on through any system or through any label or anything like that. And I understand about the musical choices and things, what's getting pushed to us, but we have a choice now as people, because you got the internet. You can go find a positive artist, you can go find whatever else it is, but we continue to embrace it. We continue to choose the negativity, and again, like I say, it's unfortunate, because I want to say might have been Ernest again that says you can't save everybody, when he called the other night. And I say it's unfortunate, man, that what I'm saying, that people don't want to be saved, and it's unfortunate that people will embrace this, but then we as people say, okay, well, that's just how people is, and then we just kind of cut off the anger and the outrage. You know what I mean? I think it should be more outrage when you're doing self-detrimental behavior, as opposed to somebody outside of your element doing it. But it's baffling. But again, I talk shit, but at the same time, it took me learning. It took me going through some things, bumping my head, getting a knot on my head a couple of times, and then kind of figuring shit out. But you have some people that don't mean they just adjust to the knot. They cool with it. It is what it is. They accept it, and that's all it's gonna be. Because again, like I said, it's unfortunate. You look at 2 or 3 different things that have happened, you know, within the last weekend, I mentioned the little bowling alley situation. I mentioned this situation was another little thing that took place. Like the one, it was another case, like I say here, that happened in Texas City down the way, and you know, another situation where I think 3 kids were killed, and the woman was shot in the head. Nobody really even talked about that. Like I said, a bunch of people said they didn't even know about it till I mentioned it in the den, or you know, it's not getting that same play. And I know the media is involved too. You know, they want to sow discord. I know they want to, you know, make everything newsworthy to get the eyes, to get the viewership, to get the attention. But as people, I think we need to stop looking for the news to give us this fucking advice. We need to really start thinking with our own minds and saying, okay, well, what do we do to fix the situation? And certain shit we gotta cut off. Certain shit we gotta stop embracing. But are we too ingrained in it as a people to cut it off? I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, why is it so difficult to get away from the negative?
Me personally, you're never too ingrained in anything. You got your own mind. You make your own decisions. Just like you made your own decision to get out there and go find a job, to go to work, take care of your household, yourself, your family, you know, whatever your situation is. You're not too ingrained because you got your own mind. Like I told my daughter, when you start coming of age, you know right from wrong. Plain and simple in a discussion. There is no excuse. You cannot sit here and say, well, this person did this. I was taught this as a kid, blah, blah, blah. No. All that get thrown out the window. What you end up thinking is this here. Excuse me, sorry. What you should end up thinking is this here. Okay, this motherfucker slap shit at me, slap him back. You know what I'm saying? Plain as day. We all live another day. Well, I'm not saying I'm not encouraging violence, but you get where I'm coming from. We sit here and we'll say, okay, he stole a piece of bread from me. I'm finna kill him. He shouldn't have stole that bread. He had got what he deserved. No, the fuck he didn't. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Like I said, my little girl's dead. But no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Nobody deserves to lose their life. You know what I'm saying? You could, just like I did. I admit it. I was in the streets. I was doing crazy stuff. And I was having a discussion with my wife a couple days ago. I was doing certain things. But it took me to go through something in me to sit and say, I don't want this crap no more. And I got out of it. I started getting out of it slowly but surely. Then I realized I had to literally leave that stuff to fully change my life around. See what I'm saying? And no matter what your situation is, there's always a way for you to stop doing certain things, make things happen for yourself. You know what I'm saying? No, why would you want to continue to live in a life of drama and negativity? You're never going to get anything out of it. Trust me, I know from experience. And going by what Honcho was saying, he knows from experience. So, but I don't want to speak for him, you know, but just going by what But at the end of the day, we're here on this earth. We have a brain. We know how to use it. There's always ways. Honcho, like to say he like to read books to educate himself. Me personally, I don't like to read that much. I like to listen, and that educates me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever works for you, that's what I'm trying to say. Whatever works for you. There's a way that we can just sit here and say, enough is enough. Why are we hurting each other for no apparent reason? You know, just like it was about a year or so ago where this guy, well, probably more than a year, but this one, Facebook Live first came out, but like that. And this guy, I forget exactly what he was, but anyway, this guy was just walking down the street filming himself, just looking at the camera, walking down the street filming himself. Wasn't doing anything. Next thing you know, you hear pop, 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 and the camera fall, the phone fall, excuse me. And then next thing you know, you can quickly see the body just fall past the phone. So he got killed for no reason from that standpoint. You know, like I said, there's really no reason to kill anybody, but the man, all he was doing just on Facebook Live, filming himself, and then next thing you know, he's dead. It's like, what is the point? You see what I'm saying? So when we are sitting here doing this to each other, then we want to point fingers at somebody else. But when somebody else is doing it, you don't want to sit here and say, damn, I sit here and I did this. Now I see Kenny Cole and somebody, it's a mentality. It shouldn't be no mentality. It shouldn't be. But what we need to, I think what we need to do is this here. Go ahead and answer your question. I think use your brain. Think. Because that, like that old saying go, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And it really is. You can educate yourself to do so much stuff, so much difference. And when you was talking about this, and I was thinking about, why we're doing this to ourselves. And I want to show you something real quick. I don't know if people know what this is right here. This here is actually was a bar of soap. Now, my wife, a co-worker, made this for me. Well, got it for my wife, and my wife gave it to me. Now, if somebody can make this here out of a bar of soap, y'all can see what that is. This is basically a pool table with the Texans logo on it right there. But it was made out of a bar of soap. If you got that much skills to do something like this, why in the hell are you doing negativity in your life? Somebody answer that question for me.
And that's the thing, man. I think we let the negatives overflow. We let the negatives, we over focus on that, and instead of giving more attention to the positivity, man. Now we were talking about, and I seen Broderick and some other people kind of mention that. You said it yourself, and I was kind of mentioning it earlier about, kind of getting away from the environments, having to change up. I know he said he went from, the hood in Lamar to the hood in A-Leaf, and then, he went out and got to Katy, and things were different. And I just kind of, if you wouldn't mind, dropping your thoughts on did you see parallels in the hood in Lamarck and the hood in A-Leaf? I'd like to know your thoughts on that one, Broderick. But, when you get away from this mentality, even if, we say it's ingrained or whatever it is, but you do your best to try to get away from it. What happens, if you have family, a significant amount of your family that is like that? How do you handle that situation? Do you feel like you have to kind of cut ties with those type of people too, for your own sanity? Or is it still okay to, occasionally associate and embrace with them, but you just kind of maybe have to spend more of your time away? I mean, there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with you're still loving your family, but sometimes you can love people from a distance. I mean, how do you feel like a situation like that should be handled? Say the majority of your family is on some other shit. You got a lot of people that are raised in places, it's a quote unquote gang culture, and they embrace that, or they, come from the hood where, that's just how we got it in, they were raised a certain way, or maybe we talk about the baby mama problem. I hate the term baby mama. We talk about the baby mama problem where, all the baby daddies or, shitty dads or whatever else it may be, whatever the origin of that problem is, it was a problem that we didn't have years and years ago, immediately after slavery, black families were strong, and then again, once, certain policies were put in place, we saw things kind of go AWOL. Again, lots of different negatives associated with the culture. Do you have to kind of distance yourself from family members, or do you kind of have to, do you still embrace that? I mean, how do you think you should handle a situation like that?
I'm gonna be real with you. I had to do that. It's not saying that family is bad for you or friends, old friends or whatever. Put it like this here. I know we talked about this before, and I said this, that song by Slim Thug called Church. I know you said you're not too big on Joel Osteen. I'm not either, but Slim Thug made some good point, and Joel Osteen did too. He said, "I'll still speak, but the trust has been broken. He gonna keep his distance, basically." In so many words, but you have to say, okay, is this the life I want to live? Is this person going through change? Can I do this myself? Now you got to make that decision, that ultimate decision, to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm gone. I got to go and do me. I don't know what it is that might inspire you to go do something different. Whatever. It might be your kids. It might be something you saw on TV. I don't know. Anything to motivate you. That's the word I was looking for. Motivate you. Because me personally, when I was going through my stuff, doing stuff that I did, in my head, I wanted to change. Slowly but surely, like I said before, I started changing. But what really made me change, I had to get up and go. I had to leave. Because I did not see a full change while I was still around. I had to go. So at the end of the day, I've said this plenty of times before, and I'm going to say it again. No, I'm not where I want to be, but I thank God I'm not where I used to be. And think about that for a moment. Once you decide to make that decision, to do what you're going to do, you're going to have to cut ties with people for a reason, whatever your reason may be. I give you a little bit of my reason. I wanted to go and do some other things. I'm sorry. I looked at him. He says, Scotty licks feet.
somebody had made a comment, so I had to just make a little reply.
I was trying to be funny, but when I saw that, I was like, what? But anyway, you have to sit here and you have to put in your head that I'm going to make the change. Just like people decide they finna go to the NBA or NFL or wherever. That motivates them to go to do what they got to do to get there. It's the same kind of process here. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an overnight success. No. I can tell you from experience it's not. But at the same time, I know that I don't want to do these things anymore. I know waking up one day said, this shit ain't right. So I made a change. I'm not going to go into detail of what it all is I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, one day you got to sit here and say enough is enough and turn it all around. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to. And it's never too late to do it. And you're right, Roger. You are in control of your own self. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You had to get rid of some people. It's not being, some people might not just be negative. They just might be going in a different direction than you. For example, you might be called go try to be a lawyer. This person might be trying to go be a doctor. And that the best school for you to be a lawyer might be, I don't know, a college in California. And the best, and the best school for them to go be a doctor might be somewhere in New York. It's not that, that's always a bad thing. No, it's not. But you have to make that decision. So at the end of the day, all this, influence and stuff, guess what? I listen to a lot of rap music, all that stuff, but I don't go and do that crap. I don't do it. Why? Because I know better. And if I did go and do it, I can't say, well, that person made me do it, or it's because the environment I grew up in. No, it was my decision to get up and go do this, whatever, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, life ain't nothing but choices. You got to go make the right choice for yourself at the end of the day. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just agreeing with you what you were saying there about making the right choice.
Oh, okay. And another thing, you can stop me, Honcho, if I'm rambling on too much here, because I feel
no, man. Say you speak, man.
I don't want to be rude, but at the end of the day, man, look, bottom line, it can be done. I just hate the fact that people find excuses for things that they are not doing, or they are in a certain situation doing certain things. Well, for example, we all heard this excuse. Well, it's the white man's fault that I'm here in this hood. See, I got some of these drugs. They ain't giving us no opportunity. Make your own damn opportunity. You ain't got to do that stuff. Make your own opportunity. And just like, kind of getting off topic here, but when I thought about people making excuses, just like a lot of people like to make excuses, like especially little girls, they like to make excuses. I ain't have a daddy in my life, so I was looking for love from all these men from the wrong places doing the wrong thing. That is such the most lamest thing I ever heard. The most dumbest thing. One of the most dumbest things I ever heard. Once you come of age, you know what you're doing. Of course, life teaches us all, but you know what you're doing as you get older and older and older. You know what's right, what's wrong. So there's no excuse. We just find excuses for what we done, but want to blame somebody else. Which is stupid. I just can't get it. I don't get it. So, but I don't want to ramble on too long, but you go ahead and speak your speech, Honcho.
All right, so this is what we're going to do, man. Y'all know how we do. We're going to open up the line and, allow you guys to call in, whatever input you want to put in on the conversation, your thoughts. All opinions are welcome, whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you have a particular thought that you may just want to add to the conversation that we may not have covered, or maybe you have a question or whatever it is, well, let me put the proper ear gear in so I can make sure that I'm talking to y'all and not just listening to some old random air. And so I know that y'all actually there. But give me a second. And we'll open up the Denline, man. And like I say, man, this one is just it's bothersome, because and the thing is, this ain't the first time, and it won't be the last time. In Houston or in any other city, it was one something last year. I think a drive-by, I want to say it was in Philly or something like that, or Chicago. We hear about it all the time. Random people just getting hit up. I mean, and then we embrace the culture. This is my hood. I'm from such and such hood. What hood you from? Such and such. You ain't tough unless you grew up in this. Let's be realistic. When a person gets money, who wants to stay in the hood? Nobody. Everybody's talking about they want nice houses and they want this and they want nice cars and all these things. This ain't stuff that you maintain in the hood. Yeah, you may have a little bit, have a few folks here or there, but then look at what you have to do to hold on to that, because there's always somebody wanting to take it from you, and that's why I don't understand, it's like, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word, but basically an opposite perspective. You love the hood, but then you want all these nice things. Those two things don't go hand in hand. You don't have nice shit in the hood. That ain't what's up, because you talk about how hard it is, how much the struggle is, and then you want to talk about all the nice things you want to have. You can't have that mind frame of hood shit and nice shit, unless you're getting it in a shady way. But again, if that's what you choose to do, that's on you. But then you have to deal with whatever consequences that come with that. It's nobody else is forcing you to do that. Once you grow and once you have some sense, you have to make a decision. Hey, yeah, the money might be good. I might be eating real good, but what is the collateral damage that I'm doing? What benefit am I providing to people? Yeah, I may, do something nice for folks here and there, but how many people am I hindering? How many people am I taking down? And it was funny because, like I say, it was a perspective that it was given to me. Like I say, I talked about, I got to some shit a while back, and part of my terms were that they made me go to like AA classes. It didn't have anything to do with alcohol. I didn't really drink like that. I wasn't drunk driving or anything like that. But the judge, he was a former junkie. And so part of his thing, he made everybody go to those classes. 'Cause I remember when I was sitting there dealing with my shit, I was like, man, I seen the person in front of me. Yeah, you're going to have to go to, AA classes for so long. That's fucked up for you. And then, hey, well, you're going to have to go out, Joe. You're going to do, that's fucked up for me, but, and so going to those things, man, I hated it. But then I started seeing it from the victim's perspective. No, it ain't about a bunch of people that got shot, but I'm just talking about when you're doing negative, and the impact that it has on people around you, the impact that it has on their families by them being on it. And so I started seeing how the chain goes, and then we live around all of that in, the hood, the whatever you want to call it, the ghetto, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I can understand how that impacts the mentality, because then you start thinking this is normal, this is how it is, but it's not like that. You just got to really wake up and see, okay, hey, maybe, it's talking about the grass ain't always green on the other side shit. And sometimes it is, shit. Sometimes if you ain't got no grass, at least some slightly brown grass or other shade of grass or whatever, where there is some grass, is actually, it's better, and that's what people got to realize. So again, the number is 281-901-1336 or 281-901-1DEN. If you want to call in and provide your perspective, like I say, we're gonna let's minimize all the trolling and BS. What I'm saying, for a while, and just kind of let's really have a real conversation, man. I really want to know how y'all feeling about this. I want to know what y'all thinking. And again, I know it's several folks. Some folks, some of y'all young don't have kids. I know it's a few fathers in here with children, sons and daughters and things like that. And, it just don't have to just be your daughter. It could be your son. It could be anything. And, your son is more likely to get caught up in some shit like that just because of the things that we as a culture perceive as manhood, as being a man, as being, masculine or whatever you want to call it. And, it's a crazy thing, and it's really unfortunate. But, like I said, looking at that and just some of the other things that have been going on, like, kind of briefly to jump at that, the bowling alley situation. I don't know if you were familiar with that, what happened in California a couple of days ago, about 2 nights ago, I believe. And basically it was a scuffle between, I think it started out with two women, and then I guess the men got involved. Guy ends up leaving, coming back and just shooting up the bowling alley randomly. So I think, I want to say it was 3 people got killed and 4 people were put in the hospital, you know. And the crazy thing about it is, and this is what happens, we come from this culture of recording everything, so people actually caught the shit on camera for the most part. You know, people in the bowling alley acting ghetto and then wanting to fight and doing a bunch of dumb shit. And then there's a big scuffle, and then in the midst of that scuffle, old buddy pull out that gun and start popping. You know, that's what happens. That's why I say, you know, it used to be motherfuckers used to, remember at school and all kind of places, you know, motherfuckers always want to go run to the fight and see what's going on. Not me, not no more, man. I'm not finna be, you know, an innocent bystander just to get some looking on, you know, just to be looking at some shit. If it ain't got shit to do with me or mine or my folks, hey, man, let's go ahead and get up out of here. You know, because some shit's gonna go down, and we not gonna be involved in it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, man, and the thing about it is, you know, it just is what it is. There wasn't a similar level of outrage in that situation when you got a lot of innocent people, motherfuckers just randomly shooting. You know, we talk about, you know, all these other cases. We can talk about the movie situation. We can talk about the church situation. We talk about when we do it to ourselves, when we're hitting ourselves up. It's like we don't care, and that's the fucking mentality that we got. We have to eliminate that shit, man, and it's fucked up, you know, because it's so deeply entrenched. But again, you know, like calls we've had in the past have said, man, sometimes you got to get away. Sometimes you got to just look out for yourself, and only, you know, I've said it before, hey, you know, help somebody who want to help themselves. You know, maybe pass that information off somebody just really struggling with it, trying to figure out, hey, this is what you got to do, man. It might be a tough choice because this is maybe all you've known. This may be your comfort zone. But you got to get outside the comfort zone and figure out something new for yourself. You may have to hit that reset button somewhere else, you know, and think you're doing something different. I saw Broderick say, you know, when he went from Lamarck, he went to A-Leaf thinking it was going to be something different, but shit, it was basically the same shit going on. The hood is the hood no matter where you go, you know, same mentality. You know, I didn't hopped around town, you know, I didn't been some other places, done some, like I say, you know, whatever it is, but again, and that's what it is. It's the same wherever you go. You know, it's just a different name on that bitch, you know, just a different street that you on, you know, but it's the same. The mentality is the same. And it's crazy how that works. You got to find a way, man.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were done. My bad. I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm good. Go ahead. What you got?
Okay. I was going to kind of bring up the same thing when you're saying we do it to ourselves. I was kind of bringing up, I know everybody remembers Hurricane Katrina. And, you know, a lot of them people from New Orleans came to Texas, Georgia, and, you know, and other places as well, too. Now, in Houston, you know, of course, you had a lot of them trying to help, you know, those that was homeless and stuff. Then you find some of those that were being murdered, being raped, you know, being beat up, being robbed and all that stuff. You know, that mentality is still in them. They can make that decision. They get that mentality out of. I mean, you can try your best to help. That's up to you, your decision. But only they can do that. And the reason why I'm saying this is this here. At the end of the day, we as people, like you just said, we have to stop doing it to ourselves, you know, to others. Yeah, you might have to hit the reset button, you know, start your life over. Guess what? Be real with y'all. I had to hit the reset button more than once. You know, I'm trying to turn my life around. Okay. That didn't work. Try something else. That didn't work. Try something else. It is what it is. It's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to, you know, say it's not just going to wake up and say, oh, all that drama's behind me. That was yesterday. No, it's not going to work that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be frustrating. But we as a people have to stop attacking each other. And I'm not just talking about just black people. I'm talking about people, period. We have to stop attacking each other. What are we attacking each other for? You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Get back onto that little girl. What did she do? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She, innocent bystander. What did she do? Nothing. Enjoying the day with her people. You know what I'm saying? Her friends, family. I'm not 100% sure, you know, exactly everything that was going on. But like I said, what she didn't do anything. Not that much. So at the end of the day, we as people need to sit here and say, look, enough is enough. We need to stop doing this to each other. You know what I'm saying? Because we're never going to grow as people if we keep doing this over and over and over. We're never going to grow. You're never going to get your place in this world. You never. Put it like this here. Even though I'm not doing anything, did you know in the neighborhood I live in right now, I still get crazy looks from people? Mm-hmm. And I ain't doing anything. I go and take out my trash. I go and check my mailbox. I go back and forth to work. You know what I'm saying? I take my daughter places. People still look at me, and I already know what it is. I just don't say anything to anybody. I might wave and say, "Hey, how you doing? You know, good morning, whatever, something like that." But I don't really hang out with people.
Yeah.
But I get looks because 9 out of 10, you can, when you look at somebody looking at you, you can kind of feel what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel what it is, and it's sad. It is sad, and I can't. Sometimes I'll be like, "Look, I didn't do anything. Why you acting like that towards me?" But then I can somewhat kind of understand it. It's sad to say that. It really is sad to say that because I didn't do anything, but I can get where they're coming from. No, I don't think it's a Rockets thing. I mean, I said Rockets. I was looking at that comment. No, I don't think it's a race thing. No, I don't. But I do sit here and be like, I know exactly where it's coming from. Yeah, I know Honcho talking about I got the old school and the new school Rockets logo. They're looking at the old Rockets logo. But, hey, man, I support my team. I don't give a damn where I'm at. But anyway, that ain't the point. But anyway, no, it's just that, look, at the end of the day, we're going to stop. We need to stop. And if you don't mind, Honcho, I want to kind of tie this in what we were talking about before as well, too. How we attacking each other, but in a different way.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Go ahead. Bring it up.
It happened to me again. And then I even sent you that video of what I was talking about. I don't know if you okay with me bringing up that video that I sent you.
Yeah, go ahead.
But okay, cool. Everybody knows their situation when Antonio Brown not showing up to practice and playing, stuff like that. Former Pittsburgh Steeler Ryan Clark just started talking about, man, you're a professional. You got to do this. You got to do this. Why did Antonio Brown attack this dude by calling him an Uncle Tom? What sense did that by Ryan Clark bringing up the fact that you not doing what you're supposed to do? Like you said, that was just lazy. That was just ridiculous. That was just wrong on all levels. For him to bring up something, for Ryan Clark to bring up something that Antonio Brown is not doing, and you just gonna come out and say he's an Uncle Tom because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You even quick to fire back at this dude. And I don't know if people remember this. I talked about this before, but it happened to me again at work.
Dang.
See, here's the deal. Why is it that when we, as black, put that in quotes, as black people, not doing what is considered to be black, we attack each other? You know what I'm saying? You're a sellout, whatever the case is. Why is that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
because I'm listening to some Kid Rock. I'm listening to, I don't know if y'all heard of this rock band, old school rock band called Creed. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to, I can't name that band won't come to my head right now, but I'm listening to some non-gangster rap music. You see what I'm saying? And I get Uncle Tom, I get called a sellout, I get called all kinds of crap. So when I came home and I told my wife, the motherfucker said that shit again. Excuse my language, that's why I got a little low. The girls upstairs now. I'm trying to watch my words. But when I came home and I told my wife about that, she was like, "Why are you letting that upset you?" She had a point. Yeah. She really had a point. But for some reason, it bothers me that this is why it bothers me. First of all, what did I do for you to attack me? Oh, because I'm not listening to I'm not supporting gangster rap music. I'm not supporting black people. That's how I interpret it. No, that wasn't what was said, but that's how I interpret it. So I'm going by that logic. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I was telling my wife this. I was like, why don't they look at where they work at? It's not ran and owned by black people. Look at that phone they got in their hand, iPhone. Steve Jobs made Apple. He's not black. Look at them shoes you got on. Oh, you got on Jordan? Guess what? Michael Jordan didn't make those shoes. Nike made those shoes. And who's at the top of Nike?
Mm-hmm. What's his name? I forgot his damn name.
I don't know too, but also too, those shoes are made in China. None of this stuff is made by, black people. So I can say the same thing about you. See what I'm saying? And my thing is this here. Why are you attacking me because I'm not doing what might be called, I don't know how to phrase it, non-black stuff?
Yeah.
What is the term of that? Please explain that to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because black people has their hands in everything. If you check the history, black people has their hands in everything. Mm-hmm. And like I said, when I came on, I was talking to my wife about it. She was like, "That's that slavery mentality." And I was telling her, I said, nobody on this earth right now, that's a lie, have anything to do with slavery. That was so long ago. So long ago. Back in the what? Slavery was ended in what, 18 something. I forget exactly what year. Nobody alive was living in the 1800s right now.
Yeah.
So the oldest person on earth the last time I saw was 100.
No, hold on one second. We're going to take this call real quick. We're going to get right back to that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the DN this evening?
What's up, Honcho? This is Ernest, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Glad to hear from you. I know I referenced a couple of your comments throughout the stream this evening, man. What would you like to drop in the DN this evening?
Yeah. First, I'm gonna say what's up to Man Up, man. And all right, it's a few things, Honcho. All right, Man Up just said that none of us today have anything to do with slavery. I disagree with that, and I'm about to tell you why. When you look at the wealth of this nation, it was built on 400 years of free labor, which came from slavery. They still possess that wealth to this day. When you look the duality of black people, it came during slavery, when they took our culture, they took our language, they took our heritage, and they created this thing called the house Negro and the field Negro, which created separation. Oh, I'm better than him, blah, 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 whatever it may be. And that still lingers to this day. So though none of us physically was back then, the effects of what you're seeing today stems from that period in that time. Now, with that said, on the aspect of the little girl, man, first thing I'm going to say, I agree with you, man. Agree with both of y'all. It ain't no way to explain it away. It's like the R. Kelly situation. I don't care how you slice it. You cannot matter of fact, this is something I wanted to say, Honcho, because we talked about this last night. Like, just like I agree, we are not as outraged as we should be when one of us take the lives of one of us unjustly. Well, think about the whole R. Kelly situation. You know, I was talking to my wife about it, and she gave it to me from a black female perspective. She say, this is why we don't speak out. Because every time we speak out, you know what I'm saying, they want to flip it back on us. And I say, dang, you know what I'm saying? I just had to take a moment to hear what she was telling me. Because that's, you know, to a great extent, that's what you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, there's something else I want to say. I'm going to start this all about with the Tupac quote, bro, on the aspect of the little girl who lost her life unjustly, man. Tupac say, in white man's world, it ain't them that's killing us, it's us that's killing us. It ain't them that's knocking us off, it's us that's knocking us off. All right? And when you think about what Tupac was saying, bro, Tupac understood his history. His mama was a Panther. His godfather, Geronimo Pratt, was a Panther. Mutulu Shakur, who's still a political prisoner to this day, was his stepfather. This man was taught his history at a very young age. So when you seen him rebel against, you know, a lot of things, that's why he created Thug Life. It was a form of rebellion because he understood what was going on systematically. You know what I'm saying? Now, why did I say that, bro? Too many of us don't really know our history. And if you don't really know your history, you know what I'm saying, you will take what you see at face value. And it's really deeper than that. So I do agree with what you're saying about we should be just as outraged. Absolutely. Why are we more outraged when white people do it? I'm gonna tell you why, bro. It's because it's systematic, bro. Every time you turn, not every time, too many times you turn on TV, you see these unjust police killings. Naomi Klein got a book called Shock Doctrine. Very good book. And in this book, in a nutshell, she talks about black people have always been in a state of shock, in a state of trauma, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's seeing people getting killed. And why I'm speaking on this, Honcho, because when I spoke about this being a lingering effect from slavery, from Jim Crow, bruh, anytime an individual experience traumatic experience, they get therapy, they get counseling. We as a people, what we've been through, psychologically, emotionally, physically, we've never had no form of therapy, bro. You want to talk about PTSD? Black people suffer from PTSD, bro. And this stuff was passed down genetically, man. And nobody really talks about this. Everybody want to blame us, you know what I'm saying, for why we doing what we doing, but we don't want to get to the root of the problem of why we do what we do. Is it right? Absolutely not. It ain't right. But it's much deeper than, you know what I'm saying, what we see, you know, at face value. And until we tackle the problem, I'm a firm believer. You can't truly solve a problem if you don't go to the root of the problem. You know what I'm saying? We always want to talk about the symptoms of the problem, but we don't want to go to the root and deal with it head on, because at the root, guess what? It's not really black people. And it's a much bigger issue than black people, and people don't have the heart nor the courage to deal with that issue. So they just deal with the little thing that they see, that they take at face value. So I think that's why you see us act the way we act when, you know what I'm saying, we dealing with racism or racist cop killer unarmed black man, woman, or child, because it's systematic. It's been going on for so long, and really it happened more to us than any other ethnic group in the country. Now, on the aspect of this so-called black on black violence, which is a thing, the reason I stopped using that phrase is because when white people kill each other, they don't call it white on white violence. When Hispanics kill each other, they don't call it brown on brown violence, et cetera, et cetera. So black people ain't the only one killing each other, man. Every ethnic group kills themselves. You know what I'm saying? Statistics show that most murders occur within the vicinity of where that person lives. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see more whites killing whites, more blacks killing blacks, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I just want to touch on these couple things, bro, because it's a very good topic both of y'all talking about tonight, and some light need to be shed on it. And I just wanted to give my little take on it, but that's what I got, Honcho. Appreciate it, man.
Man, Ernest, appreciate it again, always with the great calls, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, bro.
Already. No, man, Ernest hit on a bunch of good things there, and definitely want to discuss. Now, something he said, and this is a conversation that we've had before, because I know people have mentioned. We were talking about how you mentioned that, you know, it's passed on genetically, and somebody kind of hit me to some stuff prior to talking about I forgot the exact name, cell something, but basically how certain traumas and things are passed on, you know, through you know, with reproduction or whatever else it may be. They were talking about a mother who may have had an eating disorder or certain situation, a mentality, and how it gets passed on. It's not, you know, I forgot the exact word of it, but and when he said that, it kind of, that's why I said a switch kind of passed on and cut on, and he might be onto something. I might have to do a little bit more. I'm gonna have to research a little bit more, but like I say, you know, he might be onto something there, because you talk about traumas and problems that do get passed on. You talk about situations where people have had transplants and things like that, and then they take on memories or behaviors of the person that they got that transplant from. I mean, that's a well-known thing that's happened a lot. I was just seeing one thing the other day. Somebody got a transplant and then they all of a sudden developed like a peanut allergy or something that the person had to them prior. I've seen things where people talk about they've had memories from the people that they've had transplants from, had weird reactions. So they would actually go back to the family and, ask them certain things, and they, kind of be baffled. Like, how do you know this? Because usually they don't share too much of that information. And it's like, well, these dreams have been coming. My behaviors have changed. They were talking about a person who has never smoked, their whole life. And then they went and got a certain thing. They started smoking, or they started picking up a certain habit that they've never had after receiving some kind of transplant. So like I say, when he said that right there, man, you might have hit the nail on the head one good time, and really be on something. But I can understand what you're saying, and I definitely can understand what you're saying, and embracing the root of the problem. Maybe what is it? Is it that we need to start becoming more knowledgeable of our own history ourselves, and do we need to share that with the kids? It's our job to teach our kids the true history, because we talk about, they don't teach this in school. They don't teach. I mean, it's a lot of shit they don't teach in school. We don't, the fucking American schools are terrible if you look at it compared to the rest of the world. So isn't that one of those things like it is to teach our kids? They don't teach you. Somebody talked about credit. It might have been Ernest talked about credit, and a lot of these other things that they don't teach us. Is that part of our job as, guardians? Is that part of our job as adults to provide this knowledge to the kids? Because, the government, all they think they teaching them is how to pass a goofy ass test. And they don't teach you anything that you need to know in the real world. Once you're done with that test, they don't give a shit about you. Once that school gets the funding that they need from the government, they don't give a shit about you. So ultimately, I think it's on us to handle those kind of situations, man. So I think that, man, he said some things that really enlightened me on that. And man, like I say, maybe you may have really been onto something with that, or maybe provided me a perspective, at least myself, a perspective that I didn't look at, prior to. But again, like I said, we have to resolve, and we have to find a way to address the root of the problem. Because again, you got to cut stuff off at the root to prevent it from growing back, to prevent it from continually growing back. So definitely, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the Denline this evening?
Yo, this is your boy Broderick. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Broderick, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den this evening?
Man, what's going on, Honcho and man? First of all, I just want to say, interesting topic tonight, as you always have. But I have to really disagree with the premise of Ernest's call.
Okay. And
starting off with the fact that I've always heard all my life that if you don't know your history, that you're doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And in a certain way, that is true. But we also have to be careful with who we're learning our history from. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we have to learn our history from people that look like us. I'm saying we have to learn our history with some perspective, because a lot of times we're learning our history from people who have been hurt by said history. And as they're teaching us our history, they're passing down those same hurt emotions. And with that they're passing down, they're implanting that same anger or hatred in us. This is one of the reasons why, as a Black community, we're unable to break certain cycles. And this is the reason why we have that crab in the bucket mentality, that mental slavery mentality, because we've been implanted so much anger from learning our history from the wrong perspective. There's nothing wrong with learning your history, but you have to take some perspective with your history, and you have to also compare that history to your life today. And a lot of our history is good to know, but we're not living in those days. We're not victims anymore. We can't continue to play this victim role, and that's 90% of the problem with the Black community, is we continue to play the victim role. It's almost like we're in love with being the victim. So when this situation happened with this young girl who got killed, just a few days ago, all the social justice warriors were out, and they were just outraged and giving all of this money and everything because they thought that it was a hate crime, that a white guy did it. Now that we found out that the white guy that was in the area was just speeding off trying to get away from what happened, and he wasn't the actual shooter, that two Black men were involved, I don't see the same outrage. But that's just how we operate as a black community. We have selective outrage. And it's sad when a white person can do something to us, and that's when we all band together in love and support. But, you know, when Ray Ray killed Pookie down around the corner, nobody gives a crap. You know what I mean? It's just another day in the hood.
Yeah.
And we have to take our time to eradicate our doggone neighborhoods of these people who are terrorizing our neighborhood. And I blame the rappers and entertainment a lot for what's continuing to go on in our hood, because they continue to push this no snitching policy, which keeps those neighborhood terrorists in our neighborhoods, which our neighborhoods will never grow if we don't speak up and eradicate those who are actually responsible for putting our neighborhoods in the place that they're in right now. And I just, I just have a real problem with that. And I'm so glad that I got away from my environment that I was in and got around some other people who thought differently. And it's really opened my eyes to kind of see the other side of the world and to look back and see how I used to think and why that was so damaging. And I'm just so glad that I'm able to pass on some real valuable knowledge along with history to my children, and hopefully break the cycle starting with me. And that's all I got, Honcho.
Man, Broderick, I appreciate it, man. There's some good shit there, man. I appreciate the call, man.
No problem.
Already. And man, and see, this is what I love about the Den, and when we have these good conversations that you can have different perspectives and still be bringing forth valid input. So, what you got there?
I wanted to speak on something before I forgot about it, because I was trying to keep it in my head and also listen to him. No, first I want to go back to Ernest. Let me clarify exactly what I mean by we have nothing to do with slavery today. I know I'm using that term and it might be good a little loosely. What I'm basically saying is this here. Yeah, I know from my history, from what I was taught in history, black people built the White House. Black slaves built the White House. So I know to this day the White House still stands, so we have something to do with that. But that's not exactly what I mean. Let me go ahead and elaborate exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this here. I know back in the day, in slavery time, they used to, I know some of us probably seen that movie where Jamie Foxx, golly, I can't think of the name of that movie, where he was a slave and he went to go save his wife. Golly, Django Unchained. And they used to have black people fighting other black people, kind of like dog fights, and betting on them. And I know that's the mentality that we still have today, to attack other black people. But what I am actually saying is, those days are over with. Those days are gone, long gone. We don't have to do that to each other today. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. That's what I mean. We don't have to attack each other because we're doing something that Honcho might be doing something I don't like, so I'm going to call him out of his name. No, I'm not going to do that. He doing something he likes to do. That's his business. I'm doing something I like to do. It's my business. We don't have to have these negative responses and comments and attitudes towards one another for that. That's what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. And forgive me, but I forgot the name of the last dude that just called.
Broderick.
Roger. There we go. Apologize about that. But he brought up a good point as well too. And like you said, though, I do love the Den. We can all have our difference of opinion. You don't have to agree with me and Honcho. You can probably say, yeah, he's right about this, but I see it differently this way. It is what it is. That's just how it goes. But speaking what Broderick was saying, excuse me, he said he kind of disagreed with Ernest. I'm not saying I disagree. I just want to explain a little bit of what I meant by that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know a lot of stuff that happened back then is still in existence today, but we don't have to be involved in that. That's what I'm trying to say. I know they had the house, I don't like to say that word, but I'm gonna go and say it anyway. I know we had the house Negro and the field Negro, and the house Negro would If something wasn't right, he'll go and tell a white man so that field Negro would get in trouble. I know that. But that's not going on today. That's what I'm trying to say. So, again, to quote what Jay-Z said, why are we still slaves? Well, he said 2016, but why are we still slaves today? We don't have to be. You choose to be. You have your own mind. We have freedom to go and do what we want. But why are we attacking each other? Because we're doing what we want to do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. Hopefully that brings a little bit of understanding of what I mean.
Okay. I'm going to kind of recap on some things and just kind of looking at it. I'm glad he had brought the point up about R. Kelly, because I know Shaq was calling and he was saying what he was saying last night, and it was quite humorous. And I was listening to what Ernest was saying, and I kind of went back and I saw some other things. I went and I saw an old interview, and this is a little bit off topic, but yeah, I gotta jump completely off the Kelly bandwagon. You know, I may have appreciated all the good times that the music may have provided in the past, but it was something I saw, and it was almost on some Oedipus shit, where he was basically talking about his mom getting him coffee and talking about her cheap lipstick, and she would taste the coffee and shit, and he was talking about how he would turn the coffee cup so that he could taste her lipstick. And he was just saying some weird, he just got into some real weird conversation after that. And so at that point, you know, I've heard him say a lot of off the wall things, but I mean, I think at that point it's just, you know, the man got issues, because it has to be a mentality, because the way, you know, it's not even like we have filters in our mind that tell us, okay, stop. You shouldn't say this. This is not publicly acceptable. This is where you get a little weird, a little awkward. And it makes me question, you know, maybe the way he was raised in his childhood and things like that. I'm sure it may go further back. I'm sure there's some other things going on that, you know, probably don't even want to know. But just those comments, man. And so, yeah, I'm definitely off the R. Kelly train. But the funny thing about that, and again, this may be a topic for another time. We may have to expand on this at another time. But isn't it funny that his album sales have gone up since this shit has happened? His album sales have gone up since this documentary or whatever has come out. But the funny thing about it, he don't get no money from it anyway, so it really don't matter. But he is probably doing better now than he has been in the last few years, or as far as musically, because people are going out and in support of R. Kelly, you know. And again, maybe it's because we haven't been provided certain information, we haven't seen certain things, but I just have to go ahead and confirm that. You know, let those memories stay in the past. Like I was saying yesterday, man, separate the man from the music. It may have been good music, but he is a bad man, and he's not ashamed of it. Yes, I had to throw that little pun in there because that was the song, but still, he told you in the damn song, you know, he's a bad man. So, very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate, man. Man,
I didn't see that doc.
Yeah, it was just, I'm not watching the documentary. It was just something I seen come across on the, I think it was on Twitter or one of them platforms, and it was just basically, it might have been Instagram, and it was just like a little short clip of him just speaking on it, or just the way he was remembering. He just said some things. I don't even want to get into it because it's sick, but, and it wasn't anything vulgar, but just the way he spoke about it was odd. And then it's another conversation for another day. Because it makes me want to dive deeper into some things. But now, like I said, I can agree with aspects of what both Ernest and Broderick called in and said, man. And he was basically, you know, talking about knowing your history. But then I think that Broderick added a good point onto that by saying, you know, who are you learning your history from? You know, and I think that when you get information, especially when you're getting facts, it needs to be done in a non-biased way, so that you are entitled to process it on your own. You know, when you teach kids, especially, you know, when you kind of lean one way or another, you know, like we talk about a lot of these colleges now, how they're super liberal, so they're teaching these kids information, but it's leaning in a very liberal way, so that they're starting to respond. You're seeing how much of that. You know, he was talking about the SJW movement and stuff is coming out of these colleges because these professors are, you know, teaching them in a certain fashion, and it's affecting their emotions. And not realizing all this stuff you complaining about, shit, your professor benefiting off of it because you part of you in that collegiate system. That's how he gets paid and everything else. But that's, again, another conversation. But, you know, I agree with, you know, I think I've seen somebody think about cell memory. I think Heidi posted. I was trying to catch up with some of the chat because there's always some good stuff happening in the chat. And that's why I say I agree with Ernest with what he was saying about the PTSD because, like I said, I looked up a little briefly on cell memory because I want to say it was Heidi had said something about it. This was a few months back, and I want to say Max Vasquez had said something about it. And, you know, I was like, okay, well, let me take a look into it and see what's going on. And so I looked up a couple of little studies about it, and they were talking about how feelings, memories, and things like this can be passed on at the cellular level. And so, you know, you wonder about that. You think about some of that trauma and some of those things that happen, how they could be passed on. But then I agree that with what Broderick said at a certain point, you know, you got to see different. I mean, and the thing is, you got to kind of be logical about it because then you got to look and say, okay, well, look, over there on that side, they look like me, similar features, similar background, all those things, but they're responding a little bit differently. They're operating. Appreciate Footballer 503, and I think Joshua Grant is subscribed. Welcome to the Den. Y'all are now officially friends of the Den, so thank you for that. And he was just
there's a couple of
yeah.
So that it was a couple of people that joined too. I was trying to remember it myself, but it kind of slipped my mind. But go ahead.
And so, like I said, I appreciate everybody. Welcome everybody who is a new friend of the Den. But you know, but you got to look. Sometimes you say, okay, well, over there on that other side, they doing something a little bit different. Over there on that other side, you know, they doing something a little bit different, and they're succeeding and they're winning. And it's not things that we're traditionally told that only we can only do this or we can only do that. We only have the ability to do this. And I think there is a lot of I talk about, you know, knowing your history but not being bound by your history. There's nothing wrong with knowing your history, but don't, you know, vibe in the sense that this is all I can be, this is all I want to be. I see people talking about, man, they teach us in school, you know, that we started with slavery. And honestly, that's what they do, you know, because they don't teach you African history. They teach you American history. So they're only going to bring you into the story at the point where now they call them involuntary workers. They don't call them slaves anymore. Involuntary workers came across on that's why I say words are powerful, because the way people use words can always alter your perspective of things. But, you know, they talk about coming across on the slave ships and things like that. That's cool beans, and that's why I say I don't watch slave movies anymore. I stopped, but I think I watched Django. That might have been the last one I did see. But you know, all that 12 years and all these other things where blacks are in servitude and stuff like that, because I don't think like that. I don't operate from that perspective or that mentality. All right, hold on, we got a call coming in here. We'll finish that comment. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the Den this evening?
Hey, what's up, Honcho? This is Ernest again, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the Den?
Yeah, I just thought of something when you were saying that, all right, like, whenever you look at, you know, the different ethnic groups in America, every ethnic group honor their homeland. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Chinese, whether it's Ireland, Irish, whoever they are, they do not disassociate themselves from their homeland, their motherland, which I highly respect. But when you look at black people, it's the complete opposite. So when I said know your history, this is partly why I said that, because just when you think of that, just that little thing right there, man, I what's the word, bro? I almost envy them. Like, man, I wish I had a connection to my homeland. Man, I wish, you know what I'm saying? But I don't, because slavery took that from me, man. It took that from us. But most of us don't value our history, our culture, our heritage. And you know what? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, but that's primarily what I meant by that. But that's what I got, Honcho. Appreciate it, man.
Already, Ernest, man. I appreciate your call, man.
All right.
Okay, appreciate you for clarifying. And I kind of like, I may be wrong, but I can kind of see where I think you were going with that. And you were saying that, you know, when we had it taken away from us, and I've thought about that several times myself, you know, not something that you want to dedicate too much time to, because again, you know, you want to be forward thinking. You know, you ain't nothing you can really do to change the past too much. And I'm not saying that not to respect and not to honor it, but I think about that, you know, do I know exactly the details of my origins and what country, and, you know, if it from where in Africa, my ancestral heritage would come from? No, I don't. And that's something that connection that you're lacking. You know, you want to know. It's the same thing when I talk about, you know, sons who don't have that father figure, or your father's not around it, but you still want to have that connection, even though you don't really know him, even though he may not be present in your life, and your mama can talk all the shit about him that she wants to, or maybe just don't speak on him at all or whatever. As a man, you kind of want to know, why am I? Who am I? You know, where did this come from? Where did these habits come from? And me not knowing that. And again, I'm sure there's things that I could do to really make an effort to discover, or hope that I'm getting the right information to discover that. But have I really? No, because you just, it's like you said, there's that disconnect, and you kind of envy that. And I can understand that. And I do feel like there is that in the community when you don't really know where your origins are from. You just kind of know, well, hey, I'm over here now. And I think also, you know, you have where you're talking about we don't really respect in the sense of, you know, when we look back at Africa as a continent, you know, we don't really have love for Africa like that, because we believe everything is, you know, they live it in huts and flies and AIDS, and you know they sell you all of that, and that's what we think. Well, shit, they was living like that. They was living poor and in you know, in shambles there. We just doing it over here, when that's not the case. It's not true, you know. And I got schooled on that by an African gentleman in college, and you know, we used to give him a hard time, and we ended up sitting down chopping up. I think we ended up smoking a blunt or something, man. And honestly, and you know, I used to give him a hard time, call him Jaguar Chaser and all this stuff. And now I look back at, you know, really honestly how disrespectful, you know, some of that shit really was. But we would give him a hard time about it. And I can see why he would honestly be frustrated and things like that. But, you know, once we sat down and we chopped it up and just talked about it, he's like, man, look, all that shit y'all be saying about animals and all this wild shit. He's like, I've never seen any of that shit till I came to Houston at the Houston fucking zoo. You know, I've never seen these things that you know, y'all give us a hard time. He's like, I lived in the city. It was nice. You know, people had money. You know, it wasn't of the same caliber. That's not what you think it is, you know, and you know, that kind of started making me look at things a little bit differently when it came to Africans, and I dealt with them. And that's when I started watching how they behaved, how they responded to things. And, you know, different situations that we may have similar situations that we both face, but I started watching how they responded, how they acted, and how they handled these things, and that they didn't have the same problems that we did. They can be in the same places as us, same vicinity, same, I won't say same neighborhoods. They generally tend to be in a little bit better off because of the decisions that they make, because they come in, they have a work ethic when they come here, and they're focused on the success because they know, you know, some of them know how easy it is to lose it or whatever else it may be. They come here with a goal in mind, knowing the opportunities that are here, and they take advantage of it. We're here being kind of surrounded by all the opportunity, but we don't acknowledge it, you know? And so I just find it real interesting. And I say, you know, I kind of have to I guess, thank him for, you know, giving me a little bit of a different perspective. He probably didn't even realize it, but I think about that from time to time, and just, you know, but they have that connection with their homeland because they came from there originally, then are here now. And you know, they have like a source of pride. You know, you talk about that with folks from the islands. You talk about that with different races. You know, Mexico. You know, Mexicans who come here, they love Mexico. Puerto Ricans, every other race, like you said, every other race, every other culture has that. So I think, you know, and I can't blame anybody for that. I think it's up to me to have to go in, and if I really want to truly know that information, it's up to me to go and figure it out and find it out. But still, then, I don't know if that connection would be as genuine unless I make it genuine, I guess. I don't know how that would work out. That's just something I guess I'd have to find out for myself, you know. And then you talk about all the different cultures of Africans that were brought across here, how they were mixed up and, you know, spoke different languages and things like that. So, you know, you just never really know if you're getting the authentic information. So again, I think it's a very interesting situation. I think there are, you know, physical features and traits that belong to certain African communities that maybe you could figure it out from and try to determine, but I think that's really interesting. So
I said the same thing kind of when dealing with, when, like I told, like we talked before in another video, like when I went to Jamaica, I found out, you know, a lot about them as well too, even though some people that are, you know, here in America that's Jamaican that I've met, you know, just hanging around them. And it's not, and I'm not trying to dismiss, you know, Africa or anything like that, but I'm just saying that, you know, I kind of did the same thing with people from other countries as well too. You know, seeing how they react and how they live and how they come over here and they really don't associate themselves with all the negativity. And somebody brought up, I saw in the chat, I forgot who it was, said that Africa got some big and pretty cities bigger than America, but you don't see that on commercials. And you're right, you don't see that. And what you said earlier, they don't really teach you about slavery and how black people have overcome it and stuff like that. They mostly talk about slavery and this is what went on back in those days and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's really like you have preached before. It's really up to us to do our own research on certain things. You know, it's really up to us to change our own mindsets on what we.
All right, hold on one second. We got a call coming in. We can get right back to that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Denline this evening?
Yeah, what's up, Honcho? This is Broderick again.
Ready? Broderick, what would you like to drop in the Den this evening?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on something that was mentioned here recently. You know, I mentioned earlier in the chat that I moved from, the hood in Lamarck, and I moved straight into the hood of A-Leaf, which I kind of thought I was moving up, but kind of moved into the same deal. But I'm going to tell you what was, visibly different from Lamarck and A-Leaf. The hood mentality was the exact same. But as far as the optics go, A-Leaf is the biggest cultural melting pot in the city of Houston, hands down. There's no other place in Houston where you're going to go and see Indians, Asians, Africans, Haitians, blacks, whites, Mexicans, all in the same neighborhoods. I mean, and just to be quite honest with you, it was something I had never seen before when I came from Lamarck, because all I know coming from Lamarck and Sixth Cedar was, white, black, and a few Hispanics, So when I came to A-Leaf, it was a culture shock to me because I had never seen, young kids of all these different races from all over the world hanging out with each other and, enjoying each other's company and whatnot. And it was different for me. It was a culture shock. But something that I did learn in A-Leaf from the Africans that were there is that those people in Africa, they really don't like us, African Americans. They don't fool with us. They think that we're less than. They think that we're stupid. They think that we're cowards. I mean, you just name the adjective in the book, and that's what they think less of us. So, I mean, I hate to sound insensitive, but to be quite honest with you, I don't have a connection with Africa, never did, and really don't give a crap to have that connection with Africa. That's just my personal feelings and the way that I see it. I'm an American. This is where I was born. This is where, my family was born or whatnot. And this is the connection that I have. This is my home. Africa is not my home. Never has been, never will be. So, I mean, like I said, I hate to sound insensitive, but I have no connection with Africa and don't wish to have a connection with Africa because, on top of that, why would I want to have a connection with somewhere that really does not even acknowledge me as being one of their own? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's all I got to spill.
All right, man. Appreciate that, Broderick. I don't know if you heard me on that, but yeah, man. I mean, that's why I say that that's what's so good about the Den. Again, providing the different perspective, and that's something I agree with Broderick. And I think we've actually talked about that a time or two before. That Africans don't like fucking African Americans or Black Americans. They're again, like I say, it's and then again, I think Black Americans have their own perspective of Africans. They think again, like I say, the dusty. I saw somebody say the potbelly, crusty-eyed kids or whatever, and so. There's a distance. There's a difference in between the cultures. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate. And I can agree with him on that. Like I say, me personally, just because, like I say, I know that there are roots there. It is something I would like to know. But I can understand, the perspective of, hey, if you don't give a fuck about me, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm not trying to know, when you don't embrace me, when you don't accept me. It's a thing that I've said from time to time, and I stole it from a little podcast I used to listen to about being a nomadic. I forgot what it was like I forgot what it's called. I would love to give it credit. It's been about a year or so since I listened to it. It's something nomad. Basically, it was about a business nomad. Basically, what he would talk about is going from country to country, nomadic hustler or something like that. But he would go from country to country. He spent a few months over here. He spent a few months over there. And he would talk about how to do business in different countries so that, you could sustain, you could see the world. You almost basically, you can still technically be an American. He would talk about how to handle your passport situation and how powerful, an American passport is compared to some of these other places. And you can go to these places and, stay for a few months without having to become a citizen. And he would just talk about the different things and how you'd have to be in America. I think you got to stay in America for like 13 or 14 days to keep your citizenship, or just a bunch of different stuff he would talk about. And, but one of his things was go where you're treated best. And that's the one thing that I took away that I recall from all the other shit he would talk about and everything. Go where you're treated best. And he wasn't saying that in the sense of, racial situations, but he was talking about, the countries that treat you the best for, with your passport, which you can get, the most benefit from or whatever that is. And so I can understand, Broderick's perspective of saying, hey, well, they don't fuck with me over there. So why do I want to be involved with what they got going on? I'm here. This is where I know this is where I'm raised. I can definitely comprehend that. So I can definitely understand that, man. Absolutely, man.
I can see his point on that. I mean, I know that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but I can see his point on that as well, too. Would I want to go to Africa? I said it plenty of times, yeah. I want to go and see what it's like. I just don't want the long flight. I don't want to be on a plane so long. But, yeah, I would like to go visit. I would like to go visit other black native countries and, black native countries and stuff like that. Like I told you before, I've been to Jamaica, things like that. But I do see exactly where he's coming from. It's just like going to a grocery store or a restaurant. You're not welcome there. 9 times out of 10, you ain't going back, or you don't want to go if you're not welcome there. Whatever, stuff like that. I can see his point on that. Where he's coming from, and I don't disagree, and I don't really agree. I'm kind of neutral. But I do see where he's coming from. But at the same time, if you could ever think about that, shoot me what you were just talking about. This guy traveling different countries. Okay. I never heard about that before.
Yeah, I gotta go back and find it. It might be on my iTunes, so I ain't listened to it in a while. But yeah, that's basically what he would do. He would talk about going from country to country, how to establish a business, set up bank accounts and just things like that, and the benefits of different passports. He would talk about dual citizenship and things of that nature. Like I can't give y'all too much more info. Y'all be what the fuck Honcho be on? What he really be listening to? But I give y'all that much. But very good information though overall. So yeah, I definitely when I find it, I will shoot that to you.
Okay then. But yeah, but back to that there though, it's like it's kind of like this. I don't want to kind of unless you want to, but I don't want to get too much off topic. But it's kind of, to me, one of those type of things to where I just really think that we need to, I'm not going to say sit and talk to each other, get to know each other, because that might be a waste of some people's time, I guess. I don't know, because everybody has their own perspective. But I do think we need to stop attacking.
Okay. I want to say we'll take this call real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got called into the den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund, how are you doing this evening? Now we ain't giving out no dating advice this evening, Edmund. What you got, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight, man?
I just wanted to speak on the news of the person that was charged with capital murder of the young innocent girl.
Okay.
I'm just glad that they found the suspect. I feel like sometimes people don't realize how how impactful something can get without them even noticing. Like, I don't know what this person was doing, like what his intentions were, whether it was gang related or not. I feel like his intentions were never to kill that that girl, but those consequences are now gonna basically ruin his life because he decided to get revenge on someone. And so it's kind of like, you, in a sense, you feel bad for the guy because, whatever he did, it wasn't his intention to kill it, but at the same time, like, he did it because of something, so stupid. So, but I had a question for Man Up.
All right, what you got? What you got about
if he was in that situation, like how would he feel? Would he feel like, what would he do in that situation if his daughter died in that kind of circumstance?
That's a tough question right there, man. That's a very tough question to be asking, but it's up to Man Up if he wants to answer that. But we'll go from there. But I appreciate your call in, man. We'll see what if he wants to answer that.
All right.
That's a tough one, man. That's on you, man. If you want to discuss that or not, I know that can be a little sensitive, but.
In all due respect to Ed, man, I appreciate the question, but that's something I'd rather not even think about.
Okay. That's what I kind of trust me. I got the same little vibe, just, like I say, putting myself in your shoes. I talk about my situation, and like I say, that's not even biological, but like I said, I got to care for her like my own, and I can only imagine, that. So I say, keep it a limit. But here's something I did want to speak on what Ed Man said though. You're talking about feeling bad for the dude. No, because it might not have been his intention to kill that little girl, but his intention was to kill somebody. Okay, his intention was to take out somebody. So it might not have been his victim of choice, but he had a victim that he intended to wipe out one way or another. I don't know what the beef was behind it. I don't know what the situation was behind it. None of my motherfucking business, And I know people say, well, motherfuckers get murked every day, and that's their beef and that's their business, but you deal with those consequences from whatever situation you put yourself in, and however you choose to handle that situation, that you got to deal with what comes with that, So obviously at that point in time, it was an unprovoked situation, regardless of what happened prior, because he didn't even attempt to make sure it was the right person. He didn't even attempt. So, I mean, that shows the carelessness and the lack of respect for life that this person had. So it could have been you in that vehicle, you know what I'm saying, looking like a similar car. He shot that bitch up. You could be in that situation. So that's my thing about it. Unfortunately, do I say, I talk about jail, prison, all these things. I don't want to see nobody get locked up, but at the same time, what actions will get you there, and the thing about it, people, now not everybody, there's always, false accusations. There's certain situations where people get wrongly accused. It happens a little bit too often for my liking. There's a lot of people though who, for just as many people get falsely accused, there's a lot of people who do shit and get away with it. It is what it is. It's the quote unquote justice system. But it's a lot of people who are locked up, and they're locked up for a reason. You ever go spend a little time in your local city jail or county jail or whatever the fuck it is, you're going to come across some people that you don't normally see in day-to-day society. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why you don't see those people there, and there's a reason why they in jail. You know what I mean? And so it is what it is. I'm not knocking nobody. Sometimes you do shit. Sometimes you make stupid decisions and you end up there. But it's some people. And unfortunately, I don't know their background. I can't get to the root of it, but it's some people who belong there, man. And, it is what it is, man.
I kind of want to say this here. I kind of answer this question as well, too. I don't feel sorry for him either, because at the end of the day, you made that choice to pull the trigger. And like you just said, that could have been anybody. It could have been an old lady. Not just a little girl. It could have been an old lady. Or it could have been anybody. You know what I'm saying? You just, at the end of the day, guess what? Like I said before, you got to use your brain. You got to use your brain. I don't care if you is trying to get revenge on someone that shot you. Not shot you, but whatever the case was. But here's the thing. Like you just said, you didn't have the wherewithal to say the look and see was just the exact same car. Because everybody drives a white Chevy or a blue Ford or a green Toyota or whatever. Everybody drives one. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have the common sense to say, let's make sure it's him first, or whatever. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a little girl in the car. No. Just like even on, I know it was just a movie, but even on Scarface with Al Pacino, even he wasn't willing to kill no women and children. So you see what I'm saying? Even he had some kind of mindset to say, no. You know what I'm saying? That might be a bad example, but you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
You know, even he used his brain a little bit. See what I'm saying? So it's like that don't make no sense to me. So no, I don't feel no kind of guilt for you at all. I don't feel sorry for you. Oh man, no, this happened. He trying to forget all that. At the end of the day, he took somebody's life. Nobody deserves to be killed at anything. You know, but like I said, when I first heard about it, like I said, I heard about it because DeAndre Hopkins was talking about paying the girl's funeral, donate his game check. And somebody in the chat way earlier said it was $230,000. No, it was $29,000. That's how much the check was. But in all honesty, we live in a reality, and children will always be targeted by the evil-minded. You know what, Joseph Tanner, you're right. I hate that, but I don't know why that is. Maybe because it's easy. I don't know why it is. I'm not even gonna speculate. But you do make some sense of what you're saying. But when I first heard about it, it was like, to me, I was just shocked because when I read about it, when I heard about it, like I said, it was a few days before the Wild Card game. My daughter was already asleep. I went and laid in her bed and just held her. I ended up waking her up because I was holding her too tight. Now I had to get up and I was like, oh. But it just hit me because, like I said, I have a little girl. And that could have happened. But sometimes she walks home from school. Even though it's a couple of blocks, she walks home from school. You know what I'm saying? Because she's doing what other kids do. You know what I'm saying? She goes outside and she plays. I take her places. We do this. That could have happened. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it. That could have been you. It don't have to be a little girl. It could have been an innocent woman just going grocery shopping. It could have been you going to work. You know, it doesn't matter. Just think about that. Mm-hmm. We live in a society today to where people are just not using their brain and don't really care. And I think that needs to stop. Use your freaking brain. That's the most powerful thing you have in your body is your brain. Your brain controls your body. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Why you think you can get fake eyes or fake nails or fake leg, but you cannot get a fake brain?
Get real quick. Kenneth, stop asking them goofy ass questions, man. Like, you have this infatuation. You know, your thoughts become things. Okay, and so the more you sit there focusing on thinking want to know all these questions, you just worry about keeping your ass up out that bitch. You know, you stay your ass up out the way. Quit fucking with the knuckleheads, or I don't think they really rock with you. Or quit trying to fight your little feminine classmate or whatever it is you're doing. But you stay your ass up out of there, and you'll be all right because you constantly ask these little goofy ass questions. And I tell you a lot of stuff, and it's not to put you on blast or nothing, but I tell you a lot of stuff, Kenneth, because I know you're a young dude, man. And I've been in your show, probably one as goofy as you were, but I have my own, I have my ways, but quit inquiring about stuff like that. You do your best to stay the fuck as far away as you can from any of that shit. The best thing for you is to not know. Okay, you do better not knowing. And I'm not saying that it's the worst thing on earth, but it ain't no fun. It ain't no amusement park ride. It ain't no enjoyable situation. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's a terrible place. Like, and the reason I don't fucking speak on it because it ain't nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I see brothers say you don't want to be in that bitch for 24 hours. Shit, 24 hours, that's just the goddamn process. Before they get your ass, that motherfucking shit takes so goddamn long. But anyway, it is what it is. Stall him, I let him make it. I'll let him make it. Now, he ain't been as goofy tonight, but I'm just telling you, just quit inquiring about shit like that. You don't want to know. Because I remember when I ain't knowing, when I found out, it was not information that I wanted to know. It is what it is, man. You know, so.
That's right. You don't want to know a lot of things. Trust me.
Yeah. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
It's Edmund again.
Edmund, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What would you like to drop in the den tonight?
It's a real quick question.
All right, what you got?
For both of y'all. Do y'all believe that Texas has do you believe the cause of this is more gun related or gang related, and how do you prevent from this happening?
Okay. Gun related or gang related? Well, a little bit of both. They said it was gang related. Obviously, it had to be with some type of retaliation. And they may not necessarily even been a gang thing. It might have been just some personal beef or whatever. But I'm sure, you know, there's some type of ties within whatever. You know, they'll label a lot of things gang related, but you never ever hear the names of whatever gang that's involved unless it's MS-13 or something. But so they call all kind of stuff gang related. I think usually that's a term used to just, you know, lump a lot of shit in a category. But whatever it is, even if it's gang related or not, that I think that's really irrelevant. Is it gun related? Well, yeah, if a gun was used, it's gun related. As far as solving the problem, though, I mean, I can't give you the answer. I don't know if I'm not going to be one out here pushing no gun control as the issue, because we're in a country where for the right price, you can get anything you want to. You know, I know people talk about the way Australia did some things, but I think that's different because, you know, you're surrounded by water. You got a lot of other little things that allow that to be a more viable situation. America is much different. So I can't give you a legit answer on that. Maybe Man Up got something he would like to add to it, but I really don't. I can't give you all that one. You got something you want to add to that one, Man Up?
Oh, I thought I was waiting on him to respond. Oh, my bad. Be honest with you, I don't care if it was gang related or not. That ain't no answer, no excuse, or no nothing. So that's kind of out the question for me. Excuse me. And gun related, well, that just goes without saying. You know, it's like asking what hot water heater does. It's in the name. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, she was shot. 9 out of 10 it was with a gun. So, but at the end of the day, what can we do to fix it? That's $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
That's $1 million question. Only thing I could say that I might be giving the wrong kind of answer, so forgive me, anyone. But only thing I can say is, man, just stop. Just stop. That's the only thing I can think of that we could do to fix it. Just stop.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying before he called in, I was saying your brain controls your body, so you know what you're doing. So it ain't no excuse, temporary insanity. No, forget all that. I'm sorry, I don't use no excuses for anything. You know what you're doing. It is what it is. But I just can't get no excuses.
Okay. Man, you got another question you want to add there, man, or that's all you want to ask? No, I don't know if you were saying there was a delay. Appreciate the call though, Ed, man.
I thought he had hunger.
No, because you know sometimes Ed man be coming with a little follow up, so I'll try to leave him on a little bit. Here's the deal though, and Kenneth with these crazy $4 million, yeah, 24 hours. That doesn't mean shit. Look, it's bad, but 24 mil, that's a waste a day, goddamn. But it ain't like it's not a place you want to be. You know, that's all I'm gonna say on that. It's not a place. You got better things to do. That ain't where you want to be, and shit, everything is better than that. So my thing though, like I said, I agree though, but you know, you control your brain, you control your thoughts. Thoughts become things. You harbor negative thoughts, and you will emit negativity, and you will get negativity in return to that, and so you will be facing a lot of negative outcomes because of that. And so I think that's just you got to change your mind frame. Like if you think the world is against you, then you're gonna choose to focus on and pick everything that suits your way of thinking, and you will validate and justify the way you believe, and you will live your life like that. When you start looking at it differently and saying, okay, look, I got options, I got choices, I can look at it like this, or I can look at it like that. And 9 times out of 10, sometimes shit just happens. Sometimes shit happens to good people. It is what it is. But the odds are, because I'm sure she wasn't thinking nothing gang related. She's not in a gang, you know, so, you know, it is what it is. But 9 times out of 10, if you focus on the positive and you put yourself in a positive position, or you just you strive for the positive outcome and you work in that direction, then what you will get is a better outcome than if you sit there being mad at everything and everyone. So, you know, it definitely is a mental thing.
I'm sorry, but let me quote you a little bit. What is Kenneth talking about here? He asked me a question. I'm gonna answer it. He asked me the question. I don't know if you saw this. For $1 million, man up, would you spend 24 hours in AC, which I know is Harris County, in jail? I'm gonna tell you like I tell everybody else. I make money. Money don't make me. Yeah. Let you know what that mean. I don't give a damn how much money you throwing at me. You can be really legit and throw cash at me to go do some crazy shit. If it ain't something I'm gonna do, I ain't gonna do it. I don't care what my situation is. And I've been down and out in the dumps and didn't do nothing stupid for money. So I don't give a damn what it is. So to go ahead and ask your question, no.
Okay. My brother sent in a text, man, and I'm looking at this text, and like I say, even though earlier, you know, he had called in and Ernest had called in, and they, you know, kind of generally disagreed on certain aspects of it, but I think there were some parts where there was some agreement. I think this is something that they could both agree on, and I think mostly everybody could, or most of us will. I think some people still have a certain mentality, but he says, here's how we solve the problem. Marriage will solve many of the issues that we have. Stop making baby mamas, sleeping around, and start making wives. Care about the community you live in. Pick up your trash, cut your yards, and clean out your closets. And the premise of that is I definitely agree. You know, here's the deal, man. You know, I talk a lot of shit, but ultimately, you know, we spoke on one thing too. We talk about, you know, behind every good man is a good woman. And I think that's what you got to do. But the thing is, a lot of us, and, you know, not me specifically, I don't think man up specifically, and a lot of other couples, I'm just using us in general as men, not even just black men. I think, and I saw somebody mention that America is fake. You know, a lot of us fall in love with the fakery, the fake idea of the woman. And so that's why you see all these fake looking models, and you see these basketball players flying out all these IG thoughts and all this stuff, you know, because they're tempted with what their eyes see. And they're not looking for something quality. And that's why they all end up in the situation with these baby mamas, and they paying them $30,000, $40,000 a month in child support and all these things, instead of going out and trying to find an ideal woman who's going to have their back through the thick and the thin, whether they famous or whether they fall off or whatever else is going to be. And being honest, it's easy to see what type of people are like that. You know, if you watch a person and you pay attention to their habits, you know, long enough, you can tell whether or not a person is good for you. What happens with a lot of guys, they get a little action, they get a little pussy, and they fall in love with it, and they just like, man, oh, you know, this is what it is. They fall in love with that idea, but she's showing you signs, you know, day in and day out. And same thing with women, man. The dude is showing you signs day in and day out that he's not the dude for you. He don't have your best interest in mind. He don't give a fuck about you or what you got going on. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not going to put it all on men. I'm not going to put it all on women. You know, women have to be responsible and you know, keep the legs closed until you get a guy that's showing you that he's quality. What's the motherfucking deal? We got called in on the Denline this evening.
Hey, man, this is Kenneth.
All right. Kenneth, what would you like to drop in the den this evening?
Hey, man, first and foremost, I want to address the whole Harris County shit. Like, I know, a lot of that shit was part of it was a joke, but part of us was like, man, I genuinely wanted to know, you know, like, because a lot of some of you guys, you know, some of you, you know, a lot of y'all are grown, man. Y'all been through Harris County and all that shit. I wanted to know, like, how was your experience, you know, because me, I would just want to stay out of that shit as much as, you know, at all costs, you know what I'm saying? Because I hear all of y'all stories and how bad that bitch is. So, you know, I generally just wanted to know what that shit was like. But to get to my question, it was like, my question is, you know, like, do you, like, you know, because, you know, it starts from the top. So, like, how do you think that these parents or, single mothers or single fathers, like, what do you think is the effect of these kids being born into this, like, so how kids are just born into these households that are essentially broken. Like, what do you see? What effect do you see on this? That that gives black kids this mentality when they're born. I know, like, my question isn't making a lot of sense, but I hope you can understand it.
I get you. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Kenneth. You basically kind of answered your own question. About the mentality that they're given when they're born. When you're born into a broken situation, you're gonna have a broken way of thinking, and that's why you see so many people who come out of those situations. Few and far between. You'll see people who make the best of it because they get instilled with the right thought process.
To the chat and listen.
Yeah, do that. Harris County ass nigga. But my thing is, you have to. You answered your own question. Is what I was saying is because you basically explained it. A broken family generally, produces a broken mentality. Instability. That's why you see so many of these people who come from these outcomes. They're unstable because they don't know how to. You got a lot of them who don't know how to deal with a steady relationship. You got a lot of women now that don't know how to deal with a man who's not putting you through a bunch of bullshit. And that's why you always see the saying, "Oh man, nice guys finish last." And you see these women who want drama. They want their man to be jealous. They want him to do this, and they do, and they go out and do deliberate things to get evoke those emotions because that's what they saw growing up. That's what they think love is. That's what they think caring is. But that's not it. It's about stability. It's about consistency. It's about quality. And a lot of people aren't used to that. They don't know how to deal with a situation when it's not tumultuous, when it's not, a bunch of upheaval. It's not a bunch of, shenanigans and stupid shit going on. If there's not a lot of drama, they think something's not right. If they're not feeling that negative energy that they grew up with, they think they don't understand how to process. And so again, like I said, there's a lot of broken people out there, man. There's a lot of people who are fucked up. I'm not just saying women, men too. And it goes both ways. And that's what people got to understand. And so you have to figure out, you got to find somebody that's compatible for you. And again, like we talk about, can't save everybody. But hold on, we got a call. We'll take this call real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the Denline this evening?
It's Josh, bro.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, Josh?
I just want to touch on what you were saying about marriage and everything. It really comes down to we got to start loving ourselves first.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could get married and all that and have a family, but if we don't start loving ourselves first, we can't show each other what love is. And at the end of the day, like I said when we was talking about a hood mentality the other day, the only way to really fix our problem in the black community, it starts with, like I said, loving yourself, and then second, finances. We gotta keep our money in our community and stop giving our money to every other community.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, all this stuff that, everybody's solutions are good, but you got to fix yourself first. Before that, we can't fix each other. That's all I wanted to say, Honcho.
All right, man. I appreciate the call, Josh. You on point with that one?
Yeah, he is on point with that one. And that's kind of an answer to how we stop this stuff. Love yourself. And you'll start to love others or see something different in others. So he gave an answer that I couldn't even give. Wouldn't even think of. So appreciate that, Josh. I agree with you 100% on that one. And kind of what you were talking about, Honcho, I think you said a project that sent you that text or whoever it was. I kind of agree with that a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm going to explain to you why. I didn't fully make a full change until I got with my wife. My wife has showed me a lot of stuff. And we had our date night last night. I was talking to her about it, and I just told her, I said, look, I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't even know why. I can't even explain it. But I really do think she saved my life. And she was like, she gave me this look like, what are you talking about? She didn't say that, but the look she gave me. And don't even know why. But I really do believe that. I really do. In my heart of hearts, believe it. A good woman will help a man, do right. A good woman will keep him focused and keep him doing the right thing. So I do somewhat agree with that. what that dude said that about marriage. But then also too, like you were saying, be careful with that though, because you could jump into the wrong thing. So you got to be careful with that though. So because with those women that just putting themselves out there, that's another reason why I wanted to give my wife. She don't put herself out there like that. She when I met her, she didn't really give a damn about anybody giving her attention. She was just doing what she had to do to, you know what I'm saying, to survive in this world. And that's what caught my attention with her. But yeah, just get on with your point there, you know what I'm saying. I do agree with Home Dude what he said though a lot, but I also agree with you to, you know, be careful though.
Okay. Man, I'm really enjoying this day tonight. You got a little bit more time on you there, Mr. Man Up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We'll keep it going for a little while longer because, like I say, usually, you know, we get about 2 hour mark. So, you know, I try to get ready to wind down. But I think we on some good stuff. And sometimes the topic, you know, it changes a little bit. But when the conversation is good, man, I like to keep it going. Let
me excuse myself. I'll be right back, though.
Okay. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. All right. I got you. Yeah, I'll let pause so we get back. There you go. So my thing is this, you know, and I'm sitting here thinking because I saw Broderick say, you know, black women they are responsible for a lot of things, and I think so. You know, I saw there was a situation with what's his name, because they're involved in the R. Kelly situation, and they're carrying it over onto him. The Chance the Rapper guy said some stuff, and they used some old interview he did in a documentary. He was talking about how he regretted doing a song with R. Kelly, and you know the outcome that came from that. And he said something, and it was basically, you know, maybe he was saying, but the way they quoted him made it seem like he didn't care about the problems of black women, and that's again the media making a lot of hype about it. So a lot of black women were mad and didn't even really look at the real interview to see how he said. He was just talking about maybe, you know, because of the way society is, that maybe I didn't respect, you know, what they were saying or what they were going through because they were black women. They made it seem like, oh, I don't respect them because they black women. You know, they all should. People, they go and they gravitate to what they want to hear. But they want to, you know, support their beliefs. But what I was saying is, though, when he was talking about that, so I kind of want to know your thoughts again, because we got a lot of variety, and not everybody's black. You know, not everybody is, but I kind of want to know y'all's thoughts on if you are looking for a significant partner, okay? And I've spoken, you know, my piece and my thoughts, you know, my preferences and things. But if you're looking for a significant other and you haven't found one, again, some of y'all have other preferences. Some of y'all other preferences might not be, you know, someone who looks like you. But you go out and, you know, basically what are your thoughts on, you know, interracial relationships? Do you build a strong interracial relationship as opposed to with someone who looks like you, even if you may be black, if you still feel, you know, that there are issues within the black community? I would like to know how y'all feel about that, what y'all think about that one. Because like I said, I see some interesting conversation going on in the chat. And so I kind of want to know how y'all feel on that one. So, man, I agree with you on that too, Broderick, about, man, I hate that fucking title, Queen. You know, Queen, where you done got knocked up from motherfuckers from 5 different kingdoms, you know what I'm saying? And you know, like you're saying, Lil Ray Ray and Pookie. Pookie got 3 different daddies, you know, you don't know which one is his. You got some uncles that hang out in your bedroom from time to time, you know, all this other stuff going on. And again, you put these, when little girls see what their mother do, they think that's what you got to do to find love. When little boys see what their mom do, and it's of that negative behavior, they think that's the type of woman they're supposed to go out and look for. And so I'm just curious, you know, if you've been searching and the person you find, you know, you come from a toxic black community or whatever, we'll take this call. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
What's going on, man? It's Toxic City Tenny.
Toxic City Tenny, man. I'm glad you called in, Toxic City Tenny. What would you like to drop in the den this evening, man?
No, just like you two was touching on just then about finding the one and all that, finding a woman to be with, man. I just wanted to drop a knowledge on some of them, man. You know, like I was 19 when me and my wife met. Or not even 19, we was 18. We got pregnant by 19. We've been together since then. I'm about to turn 32, so is she. Man, just to bestow knowledge upon y'all, man, this stuff is work. Like, you know, we've even gone through a breakup before, like a real split. And like part of the problems is like, you know, when you go to find somebody and you go to meet that person, you expect everything to be roses, and you jump into things quicker than you're ready or prepared for. And what I had to learn the hard way was putting the same effort she was putting into me, and not even like trying to find worth, but respecting the worth that she was. And I think when I was younger, I didn't have a grasp of that. And I know a lot of young guys out there, a lot of young people in the chat tend to talk about it, but you know, you really got to understand what your worth is and what their worth is to you.
I agree, man. I can definitely, I know I definitely had some situations like that, not appreciating the level of effort that was put into me and not really reciprocating that. And that does cause some instability, because eventually, you know, they'll put up with it for so long, but once they start to realize, and again, like you said, knowing your worth, both parties knowing their worth, you know, women eventually will get tired of that, man. And so, you know, it's a good thing. And I'm glad you said that too. Relationships are work, because people think that, okay, you know, fell in love and it's all good, and you think that energy is going to stay the same throughout the relationship, but you have to work to maintain that, because there's going to be problems, there's going to be ups and downs. And like I say, it's a good deal that y'all stay together, and, you know, for the kids and to establish a real family unit. And that's ideal.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like, to touch on what you were talking about, you know, calling queen or calling king and stuff like that. No offense to anybody that has those views, but like, the one thing that I understood the most, and I think she understood too, was when we were younger, our family had a lot of influence upon us. But we didn't see each other as a king or queen. We just saw each other as a relationship. We saw each other as a husband and wife. When I got older and I understood more, I understood that she's not my queen, but she is my partner. She is my equal. She's the one that I should trust when I'm not around. So like, it got to a point to where I finally understood that I have to have this woman's back no matter what. Even if she does some raw off crazy things, like in situations, I got to take her back. I can always discuss what made her decisions wrong later, but I always have to have her back. And it doesn't have to be a me and her against the world mentality. It has to be an ability to say, no matter what, people won't see us crack in front of others, but that we can come back to this situation, discuss it, and fix each other. And there's been a lot of times where this good woman that I have right now has spoken to me when the dust has settled of decisions that I've made, and helped me realize what I was wrong and what I was right on. And it's the same thing with me and her. I sit down and speak with her when I feel she's wrong, but I would never show anybody else that I think she was wrong. And I think that's been an important foundation of what we used to build and really gain a new understanding of each other.
Okay, man. Look, I tell you, look, you dropping some good game on there, man. Hold on, look, I might have to take me a couple of notes. Hold on. But ultimately, I do agree with you, man. I definitely agree with what you're saying there, though.
Oh yeah, man, definitely, man. But shout out to the den, man. It's been very nice tonight. I needed to relieve what was been going on down here, man. Y'all just pray for Texas City. It's been a rough week. You know, I know it was rough in Houston with this young woman, Jasmine, our young girl, 7 years old, that was killed. So, you know, man, everybody needs some prayers. Pray for the 3 children. Pray for this one young man that's lost right now. Y'all constantly hit those prayers and keep it strong. Hopefully faith can bring this young man home.
Absolutely. Man, Tenny, I appreciate you calling in, man, and we'll do. Absolutely will do, man.
Yes, sir.
Already. Man, shout out to Toxic City Tenny, man. Like I say, Toxic City a real one, man. And like I say, you know, he brings some very valuable. He ain't just talking Texans, man. He's definitely a real one. That's why I fucks with Tenny the long way, man. And so I appreciate that call. You had something you wanted to add to that, man, up? Oh yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, when you jumped out, I forgot to put the thing back on. Okay, there you go. You should be good.
All right, I'm gonna start over. Me and Tenny might not always agree on soft sports, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might see us going bickering back at each other on soft sports, but that's just sports. But when it comes to what he just said right there, I 100% agree with him. It does take a woman to keep him focused, to keep a man focused. And my wife has done that to me 100%. And to me, what Tenny was saying, a relationship is work. Want to know why? Because you're two different people with two different views. You found somebody that's willing to put up with you in the way you are, and she found somebody that's willing to put up with her in the way she is. Excuse me. Yeah, it's much love, Tenny, much love. But damn, he made me lose my train of thought right there. But now, and that's the reason why the relationship is going to be work. But if you love that person, you love them, you're willing to put in that work without even no questions asked. And he been with his wife for a long time. I've been with my wife for a long time. Like I said, our 11th anniversary is coming up. Matter of fact, and what's the date? On the 14th. Put it like that. Our 11th anniversary is coming up. And I will tell you right now, I tell her all the time, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I want y'all to hear me closely when I say this. I'm trying to get her on the den, but she don't want to come.
She probably hear all my hateful talk. They say I'm a woman hater. I'm not. I tell y'all, there's a difference between ladies and the others. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a woman hater. Those false accusers who be lurking in the den, but yeah.
I've been trying to get her to come on, but she don't want to. But I'm trying. But anyway, I tell her this, and I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'll tell y'all this as well. Y'all know the story of why I married her, and I'm gonna say this here: there will never be now other woman on this earth that I will ever try to be with after meeting this woman. I don't like Steve Harvey that much. I used to, but I don't like him that much anymore. But he said something on his talk show that made 100% truth, and I was like, wow, I never even thought about it. He said a man would never change, but only for one woman. He will only change who he is for one woman. And when I met that woman, that was her. I changed who I was for her, nobody else.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That's a good one to know. And again, like I say, it's good to see long sustained relationships. It's hold on, we got a call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hello?
Hello. Who got called into the den this evening?
How you doing, Honcho? This is D-Love.
D-Love, what's the motherfucking deal?
I want to call because I want to spill a little bit of sauce on relationship and dating. I recently sent a text into the den, saying that like into day and age regarding the loyalty of women, and Kenny actually sent me a text where he actually responded to my question saying to know my work, and I never even looked at it like that. And then I also saw somebody else respond to my question, and I forgot who it was, but he said fear is just an illusion. I can also consider that, but the issue I was like, the issue is as we look at the females in today's society. Well, for me, because I'm only attracted to females, so it's not like I'm only picking on them, but it's like it seems like this generation, the female has changed, from previous generation. It's like seeing that females are more materialistic and unloyal. It's difficult for me to even trust anybody nowadays. I'm not trying to say I'm insecure, but I've seen a lot of stuff. It's like females that I thought that would never even, cross that line. Is women like cheated on. Well, in the military, we got lieutenants cheating on, the husband was like promise and stuff like that. So it seemed I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to trust now. So we talked about this before.
I can speak on that.
And then I think you gave me advice, said that maybe, going overseas and stuff like that. But that might be a good idea. But I haven't, met all the women of the United States and stuff like that. So I was just calling to give a shout out to Tina for this advice, and maybe want to hear your advice of what you got to say for that. But that is my call, and appreciate the time.
Okay, man. Appreciate the call there, D Love, man. And I'll let Man Up speak. He said he had something he wanted to speak on that, and I'll definitely give my input on some of those things. And then I saw the text project. I'm gonna read that, and I'm gonna check that tweet you were talking about. But go ahead, what you got there, Man Up?
Okay. Y'all know the story. I said it before in a previous den. I had trusting issues as well too. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first met my wife, I brought that trust issues into this relationship with her. I'll be 100% honest, and I know that wasn't right, but you can't not let that stop you. If you get fired from a job, are you going to trust the next job not to fire you, or just automatically close down? Because there's been some businesses out there put like this. Yeah, let me put it like that. We all know there's been some businesses that you have a job today and tomorrow without wanting the job just closed down. You didn't even know it. You showing up for work, next thing you know, it's all boarded up. So, is that going to stop you from trying to get another job? That trust issue? No, you still got to work. You know what I'm saying? Still got to take care of yourself. So you ain't gonna let that stop you. When your car break down, I can go on and on and on. But what I'm trying to say is this here: I can understand having the trust issues, and we all gonna have those once we jump into I ain't gonna say jump into. Let me change that. We all gonna have those little issues and those little thoughts in the back of our head when you get into a relationship. Is once you get to know that person, is those thoughts in your head, is those going to be real, or just something you can just throw away once you get further into that relationship? So don't have any trust issues when it comes to that, because you can mess up that relationship, which could have been a good one. Yeah, I know there are a lot of women that are materialistic, but guess what? Women feel the same way about men, or we just out for sex. So at the end of the day, I get where he's coming from with that, and I understand you're trying to be careful, but don't try to bring that into a current relationship, because you can mess that up. Because I almost messed it up with my wife because of my previous relationship. So just be careful with that. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, man. I see that, man, and that's honestly some real motivation there, Broderick. I appreciate you tweeting that to me. That's definitely some real motivation. And I talk about my growth as a man, and situations I've had in the past, past relationships, some tragic things that have happened, and I look back on those things and wish I would have been a better man in those situations. But I think I learned from my losses, and made some decisions after that to not go through that again, to not do the same shit. And I've seen the growth from it. And, we talk about investing and reciprocating, and I know I can still do better. I can always do better, because I'll be honest, like the lady Honcho, she's one who motivated me to kind of, start doing the YouTube thing in a sense. She's like, man, you got interesting perspectives on things. You got, interesting views on things. Maybe you should talk about it. You could talk about it just as much as, any of these other people. And so, she still be on my ass about some other stuff too, about, doing more, and then, providing more content, doing other little things like that. So a lot of I'm going to say everything, but some of the things that y'all see, y'all could definitely thank, Lady Honcho for, kind of motivating me to try some different things. Cause I'm a person, man, I hate taking pictures. So much less this, now I'm used to it, but the getting online, doing videos, putting it out there to the world every day thing was a new plateau, or a new platform for me. But
can I ask a question real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off. I apologize 100%. Can I answer a question that someone just texted me in the chat?
All right, what you got?
All right, sorry about that once again. I do apologize.
Go ahead. You good?
Joshua Lameli, however you say that. I might be messing your name up. Sorry about that. Man up, do you believe your wife already loved herself before meeting you? Hell yes, I think she did. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what I mean. Met my wife, we were working together in a warehouse. We all know warehouses are not the cleanest places to work, but in a warehouse. And I even told her this story, and a lot of people know this story. But you got some women that come in and trying to come working in a dirty warehouse, hair all done up, nails, wearing high heels and stuff like that. You already know what they're doing, trying to get a man's attention. Yeah. She caught my attention, like I said before. All that stuff don't catch my attention. Y'all know what catches my attention. Not none of that makeup and trying to dress provocative and being sexual, trying to throw it at me. That don't catch my attention. Not me. Might catches other guys, but not me. Y'all know what catches my attention. Your confidence. And what I mean by that is, like I just said before, she wasn't worried about none of that. She was making her money, doing what she had to do. To survive. And I noticed that about her. She wasn't paying none of these guys attention that was hitting on her. None of them. She was doing what she had to do. Mm-hmm. That's what caught my attention. That's how I know you love yourself. She don't put herself out there in all kinds of wicked ways. She don't wear revealing clothes. She don't act a certain way like a lot of these other women. That's what caught my attention with her. That's how you know a woman loves herself, and she will continue to love herself even when getting into a relationship with you. Just like, kind of getting off topic just a little bit, I saw this video that James Harden supposed to be getting with this new Instagram model, stuff like that. And I was like, really? Wow. Because when they showed, I saw it on, what's that damn sports feed? I can't think of it right now. But anyway, they showed a picture of her and stuff like that, and all in bikini, dressing wrist scandalous. You can see everything, trust me. Mm-hmm. No, she doesn't do that. Even at home with me, she doesn't do that. Because she loves herself. And you got to love yourself before you can love somebody else. Okay. That's how you put it like that. Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm laughing about the whole warehouse thing, trust me, because I started out in the trucks and, worked my way up. I was leading the warehouse, doing all kind of everybody bullshit, doing my damn boss's job, my boss's job. And motherfuckers wouldn't work the fuck. They be coming to work drunk and don't even show up. But anyway, I definitely seen a lot of that. A lot of those women would come trying to, find somebody to impress in the warehouse. So I definitely can relate to what you were saying on that. But man, like I said, I want to say thank y'all to, those who were saying that they appreciate the show and everything. We're going to stay consistent. And, if it grows as it grows. And like I said, I got some plans in 2019 to really start putting more work into the den also, in the sauce also. But, the den is a special conversation. But like I said, he was talking about, cheating, materialistic, D-Love was saying. And I see he said, he hadn't been cheating on. He's afraid of having that experience. And again, like you said yourself, fear is an illusion. A lot of times what the thing about fear is that we build this belief up in our head, in our mind. Hold on, we'll take this call. I'll get back to it. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this evening? Oh, my fault.
But I just wanted to, I asked Man Up that question because I wanted to kind of go back to my point that I made earlier when I called in about loving yourself, because like I feel where y'all coming from with relationships and marriage and everything, but I feel like one of y'all has to love themselves in order for that relationship to work, and in order for the man or the woman not to drag down either or, because if it's two people that don't love themselves, and that's what we keep seeing out here in society. People that don't love each other trying to find love with each other. And it's just, it don't add up,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Two negatives don't, well, I guess they do kind of make a positive.
Don't make a positive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But absolutely. And I
unless you multiply. But
yeah. And multiplying being kids, that shit, that in the sense of people.
The only positive.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you on that, man. I definitely agree with you on that one.
That's all I wanted to say, Honcho.
All right, man. I appreciate the call.
I'm going to disagree with him a little bit. He said one of you got to love yourself first. No, both of you got to love yourself first. Okay. But I do agree with what he's saying, though.
But man, something I'm gonna come back to that, because it's something I want to get back on what he said on that too. That's a very valid point. But like I was saying about fear. we build up this belief in our mind. When anything, it's not just relationships. Anything when it comes to fear about going in a new direction, moving to a new place, meeting a new person. We think about everything that can go wrong, all the negative possibilities, and you build up this belief that you think that something's going to happen. It's going to feel this certain way. It's going to be, but if it ever did happen, or you actually do go through with the process, it was nothing like that. And that's why fear is an illusion, because we create something that never really occurs. Now, there could be other little aspects here and there, where you can always find those numbers. Well, what about this and that? People always do that. But for the most part, 90% of the time, fear is just an illusion that we create within our own minds to prevent ourselves from leaving the comfort zone. And so you got to be able to overcome that fear. If you want to see new, if you want to see better, you have to overcome the fear. Now, what Lamel had just said, and he was talking about, one loving the other, excuse me, and to bring the relationship, otherwise it'll bring the relationship down, and that two negatives don't make it right, and we see a lot of this inside, and that's what happens, man, because we talk about it goes back to the broken home, and that's why I say I agree with what Broderick said earlier. He has another text I need to read here too in a second, but what he was saying earlier about having establishing families, and I think a lot of everybody's been saying that, because what happens when you create that broken family, and I saw Craig mentioned it in the chat earlier, you create broken people because they're going to mirror what they see. So if it's a single mother and she's broken and she's fooling with this dude and that dude trying to find happiness because she's trying to fill a void for a man that wasn't there or whatever else it may be, or it could be a man who has whatever issues, he could be a single dad, or same thing. It's just not as likely. You create broken people, and what those broken people try to do is take their broken piece and somebody else's broken piece. Well, if we're both broken, we can put it together and think they're going to make something whole. No, you're not. You're going to build a broken foundation, and there will be no stability on a cracked foundation. It's going to be lopsided. There's going to be this, and that's why you see these toxic relationships. Now, not a toxic tinny relationship. That's a different story. But you see toxic relationships that aren't beneficial. You see these people, you wonder why they always fucking with. All they do is cuss each other out. All they do is fight with each other. But that need to be with somebody that they think is filling a void in them is so bad that they continue to stay in these toxic relationships. Or you see, people getting beaten on, or you see a woman who may continue to cheat, or she may be verbally abusive to her husband, or you see a husband who always, he claiming he loves his wife, but he's out and about, dipping at anything he can get any hole that fits, because it's not about, that's why you need to be complete, so that you can be a complete partner. Because when you have that emptiness, somebody else ain't gonna feel it, because you're gonna feel it with anything. That's why when people talk about, drinking and drugging and gambling, probably, there's nothing wrong with, if you do a little, smoke, do your thing. If you drink it a little bit every now and then, that's cool. But when you do these things excessively and you don't have control over these things, that's because you're trying to fill the voids. You're trying to fill the holes within yourself with something external, and that will never fix you. You have to fix yourself. You have to understand who you are, what you bring to the table, and how you can, complete that void. So that way you are a better partner, you're a better person, period. And then once you kind of solve that, once you solve yourself, then go find people. Because I see a lot of, like I said, I don't be on the book as much unless I'm in, the Den group or whatever else, other group or whatever. I really don't be on the main stuff. And I really eradicated my old Facebook when I told you I cut ties with a lot of people, because I would see a lot of this stupidity. But you see women posting stuff that, oh man, if he loved me, he gonna have to deal with all my problems, and he gonna have to know that this is, well, why can't you fix that shit before you go out looking for a man? And this would be shit I see from women with kids already, and they already look, again, like I talk about the 2 or 3 baby daddies, and you got 4 or 5 baby daddies and only 2 or 3 kids, do the math, but crazy shit like that. And and people think it's logical for somebody else to come and have to fix them, and this is the situation we live in. So I know that D Love was talking about, being afraid, looking overseas, having met all the women in the United States. And I'm not saying every woman born in the United States is bad. That's not what I'm saying. There are good women out there. There are women who are not caught up in the bullshit, but it's getting slimmer and slimmer because you got a couple of factors that are playing into it. Some of them are thinking that they're getting a hold of a good man, and that man is, again, you got niggas out here who are users. You got dudes out here who, again, I saw somebody say, well, we'll change their personality for every other female. You got a lot of dudes who will lie to get some pussy or whatever else it may be, just to play this image and play this role, and then they end up scarring the woman because she's invested emotionally and heavily in this. So, you know, she becomes scarred and she becomes a certain way. That's one factor. You know, if she was originally a good woman, she, you know, she gets broken because then she starts hearing all other women who say those same things. So bam, now she becomes a broken woman. Or you have a good woman who finds another good man and now she's off the market, you know. So then that's another situation. And then what you have, you know, left over those, you know, is the ones that are left, which are already broken and they're not trying to fix themselves. They're looking for the materialism. They looking for the bag that's going to make them feel like they something because it's a designer bag. And you know, we go back to talking about something that Kanye said, even though people said Kanye, he was cool and he was doing this, and this. Man, the line that he said that stood out to me, that it still stands out, it really made me think, is when he said, man, when you don't have land, you'll settle for a brand. Basically saying when you don't have ownership, you'll take pride in something superficial. So I don't own stuff. I've never had ownership. I don't own my own business. I don't own this, and this. But then you'll settle for something that other people perceive of value, which is not really a value. And like I say, that'll be Michael Kors or Versace or whatever else it is. And then that's why you'll see niggas killing each other over some material shit that's irrelevant. Or you see women doing any kind of thing just to get a bag. Don't have no money to put in the bag, but they want people to think they got something with the bag. You see people doing foolish shit for Jordans and all that. When you see people who are well-to-do, what are they fighting for? They fighting for their property. They fighting for the government ain't taking over my land, or they fighting for things like that because they know the value of ownership. And that's kind of another topic too. But basically what I'm saying is, I'm not saying all women are bad, but again, you got to know the traits, you got to know the characteristics. And I know D Love had said, you know, his particular situation, you know, about waiting for marriage. Again, I say you're in a very slim area. I mean, your numbers get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Like, you know, I talk about me and my preferences in a woman, things I like, the naturalness, the, you know, dark skin or whatever else it may be. Finding a woman who has those characteristics, who is natural, comfortable with herself, loves herself, maybe dark skin. And I'm gonna say that's not just because if you're not dark skinned, you're completely off the market. That's not what I'm saying. These are preferences. But if I'm seeking something, which I'm not seeking nothing right now, but I'm saying if I'm seeking something, my numbers are very slim because that's not a lot of that. You know, you got a lot of dark skinned women who hate themselves because I'm dark skinned and I'm not the American ideal perspective of beauty. Or you got women with a head full of weave. I'm not big on weave. You know, I'm not really a fan of that at all. So again, like my numbers are slim. So your numbers are even slimmer because you're going to want somebody who brings the same thing to the table that you bring. So if you've been saving yourself for, you know, to cross that threshold and consummate your marriage, you know, in a way that you haven't done with anybody before, it's going to be fewer and fewer women out there because they're doing it younger and younger and younger. A lot of it is the music. A lot of it is the households that they're raised in. A lot of it is just the mentality with this whole social justice, women's sexual liberation thing, and not realizing that, yeah, that may be empowering to you, but to the eyes of a man, it's devaluing. But they don't comprehend that, you know, and they say, well, you got to take me as I am. Well, that's my choice to do so, whether I do or not. And you can't be mad about me having a particular preference. The same thing, you know, you talk about women in hypergamy and things of that nature. So I think it goes both ways, but, you know, people don't want to realize that. But my thing with you, D Love, is I'm just telling you, you know, when I was talking about, you know, going international, just about basically what I was saying is keeping your options open. You know, if you feel like you don't find what you're seeking here, and I understand this young generation, especially the younger it gets, and I can say shit, it was materialistic women in my generation. It was probably materialistic women in the generation prior. It got to a point where every generation it gets a little bit worse because it starts out, you know, maybe with a smaller number, but then those ones who are negative, they breed, and they're more likely to breed and have more kids out of wedlock and unstable situations. And so then those kids go on, and then so as generations goes, it grows. So, you know, I can understand why this generation now is more and more out of control. The following generation will be even worse. So it is about finding somebody and catching them at a point in life where they are whole and complete, and then moving forward with that. So you can, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, you just gotta move on with that. Like I say, so hopefully, like I said, I hope you find what you seek, but don't be afraid to attempt, you know. So don't let the fact that you're so worried about getting cheated, because then that'll affect the way you behave, and that will be observed, and she will notice that, and she'll see that as an insecurity, or that could be a turn off, or, you know, it may lead to distrust before you ever really get a chance to get all the way in the relationship, and it could lead to problems. So I think that you gotta, you gotta just look at that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talk about weave. Say weave's like that one cousin that come over and break all your toys. Only weave I hate is the kind of smell like old bacon grease. You say, let me see. Basically being time to be self-absorbed to a certain extent, but I've learned to curb that behavior. And I agree too, because I was definitely,
That's the thing.
Ways.
You know what? Every time we bring up makeup, weave, or anything like that, Heidi always has something to say.
What she said something. I didn't know what she talking about. Yeah, I got weave. Yeah, I had to. I did that just for Heidi because I know she's an admirer of the weave. So we threw that in there just for her. No, not really. But and he say I don't necessarily hate women with weave as long as they can afford it and it's prioritized properly. And that's the thing. And that's my big deal. Not that I hate it. Not that I think that every woman with a weave in her head, she looks like shit. It's the mentality behind it that a woman will say, fuck my rent, fuck my bills, fuck my kids. I got to get my hair done. We talked about that. I think you mentioned last time on the chick who used her baby as an umbrella, basically, to try to cover up fucking weave. So you're going to put your baby in the rain to protect your weave. And the fact that you have women who out there who validate that and justify that, well, because, it costs so much. Well, then don't, you know what? Maybe you need to figure out something different. And then, like I say, the thing, especially within the black community, is because it's such an overwhelming number. And I'm talking about if it was a grade, it'd probably be a damn near A+. The amount of women who wear weave as opposed to the amount of women who are natural. Now, I know it's the natural trend is catching on. I don't know how long it's going to stick around, but still, it's 9.5 out of 10 women have weave in their head, man. And like I say, I don't have a problem so much with if it's your own hair, you permanent, do your thing, it is what it is. I'm not going to get into that. It's your hair. Do what you want to do with it. But the fact that you go and, again, like weave is like dope. You see people getting robbed for weave. You've seen people get killed over weave. You've seen people get shot over weave. And so that's why I say embracing that mentality is worrisome. If you go and look, like I said, we're going to do a video one day. I'm gonna get a collection of things and we're gonna talk about it, but live reaction, you can see what I'm saying. But you look at any of these videos, you ever see, especially if you watch like black women fighting. Okay, they fighting as long as that hair still. As soon as that hair come out, fight is over with. She running in the house. I've seen women in the clubs dancing with their wigs and they weave on. The shit come off. They run to the bathroom. A friend trying to pick the weave up, hiding under a dress to go take it to the bathroom to a friend. Like, well, we already know the jig is up. You know what I'm saying? We already know what's happening. Like, you're not fooling anybody. I mean, we knew it before you came in here. But the fact that women are embarrassed to wear their real hair out in public, it shows the sign of a mental illness. It's a sickness. You know what I mean? It's like I say, it's not an insult. But it's the mentality that comes along with it. And so you basically telling me if you ain't went and spent a couple $100s on your hair or somebody else's hair to put in your head, that you can't go out in public and be yourself. That's my problem. That's my deal. Like, that's where my issue with weave really comes in, man. So, it is what it is. That was a terrible twerk. Okay, it was terrible. It was. I had to give that twerk 2 thumbs down. I wish I had more hands.
Like you just said, it's not a knock on women wearing weave. It is not. It's a knock on what some of these women do to get weave. Like I said before, I think you said you watched the video. I might be wrong, but there was African lady that cut the tail off a horse.
Yeah.
That what? And then, like you said, that woman that hold the baby up over her head because she's walking. Bad enough she's walking in the rain with a baby, but you had the nerve, the audacity to put the baby over your head. Come on now. And then I know y'all seen those videos of the women that's Louisiana had this storm a couple of years ago, not Katrina, but a storm a couple of years ago, and these women, this beauty shop got flooded out, and the women out there surfing through the weed, trying to figure out which one's still good and stuff like that. Man, instead of help somebody else get their house cleaned up, trying to see what they can do to help their neighbor, they out there getting weed. Now, I know there's a lot of women that don't do nothing like that. They will actually just buy their weave and go get their hair done and blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about here is this. I'm not knocking it at all. I'm knocking those that do crazy shit to do it, like you just said. The ones that won't feed their kids, that won't pay their bills, they mortgage, rent, whatever, to get the weave in their head.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that we're talking about.
Yeah. Did you see the one video where it was on World Star a few years back, might have been about 3 or 4 years ago, where basically I guess a black hair store shut down and they threw a bunch of hair away, and I'm talking about it looked like an entire neighborhood of women dumpster diving for weave, and these niggas out there with cameras and they recorded it. I mean, it looked like a raid. It looked like, I mean, it was some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like people jumping in there, fighting and tussling over thrown away weave. And what I'm saying is that that's where the problem lies. And when you see that type of mentality, it's like, what the hell is really going on? That you jumping in the trash to go put on some hair, in the dumpster to go get hair. You know what I mean? And so my thing with that is just, like I say, it's a mentality, man. It's this disgusting mentality, and it's really unfortunate, man. It really is. And like I said, that's the thing that bothers me. Again, like I say, if you before then you can do what you got to do, you not missing meals and stuff like that, or tell a man he can only date you because if he pay for your hair and all this other stuff, then fine, cool, that's awesome. But outside of that, nah, bro. Like I can't do it. I can't even entertain the shit. I mean, it's a very, very bad deal. I would just rather not. Look, I've been growing this shit for a long time now. Like, I don't need no, look, you instantly throw something, you can hit the salon for a couple hours, your shit long as mine. Like, what, wait, what? Hold on. You just had a little fade. Go, what's going on? And again, like I say, and if it's one type of weave, I hate the fake dreads the most. This is one thing with the damn, and I know I talk about at least do some natural or something that look like your hair, but I hate the damn fake dreads. I hate them. I can't lie. Look, I've been putting in too much work, going through this whole process, growing this shit and having a nappy head and everything else for you to just come and throw some fakery in your shit and really feel like you do it. Man, get on with your fake ass. And then tomorrow you're gonna have like you said, a horse ponytail in your head, and that's my thing again. The inconsistency with the hairstyle. Again, I don't mind a little bit of a change. I don't mind a little bit of a change, if it looks good. But a lot of this shit don't look good. You see motherfuckers with the Oreo cookie hair and all this other shit. It just be some shit that is like, you know what? I'm done on that. I'm cool on that. So I can't really fool with it. So it is what it is. But it's just a whole bad deal. Now, there are things that upset me more than weed, sure, but it's because of, like I say, the mentality, the money that goes into it. That could be, we talk about the black community and how we don't spend money with ourselves, and I think that's the first case where the money is flying out of the community. You're talking about $9 billion a year in weave and hair care for weaves, and that was some years ago. I'm sure it's gone up by now. What happens with that's reinvesting in your local community? If you spending $300, $400, $500 a month or so on hair, and then that's like I said, I don't know if y'all saw the Chris Rock documentary where people were basically paying rent to own on the fucking hair, leasing. They was calling them hair units, but leasing them, making payments, installments. So you ain't even paying for your hair in one sitting. You got to come pay installments like a rent-a-center on your head or some shit. I
never. Wow.
Yeah, and it's crazy. If you ain't never seen that Chris Rock documentary, Good Hair, I recommend it. And that's one of the main reasons I changed my perspective on my perspective on it. So,
There's a Chris Rock documentary.
Yeah, Chris Rock documentary called Good Hair. It talks about the whole the black hair care industry. Well, look, if y'all enjoy your eyes, I'm telling y'all, don't watch that video. I warned y'all. Don't let Heidi ruin your don't let her ruin your evening.
Wow.
I'm telling you. But yeah, man. So like I say, we didn't put in a good chunk. We a couple more minutes. We'll get ready to wrap it up here shortly. Anything you wanna speak on before we get ready to start winding it down? If anybody else got something on their mind, any quick comments or anything they want to discuss, we will definitely get into it while we got a couple of minutes left here.
Yeah, I want to. Merry Christmas. You kind of late there, Heidi. But I do want to end this on a good note. You know, we started off with something real serious, and we started joking about the weed, and we, had a good conversation about relationships and all that. I do want to end this on a good note, though. I'm gonna say this here. This not just for the ladies or just for the men. It's for both. If you find someone that is truly willing to put up with you in the way you are, and not just to get something out of it, 9 times out of 10, that's the best person to be with for you. And the reason why I'm putting it like that is I know I'm not the easiest person to live with, and that woman upstairs has been putting up with me for all these years. Yeah, she deserves I don't know, the Medal of Honor for putting up with me. Bro, I don't know if I'm gonna come on next week. I'm not 100% sure. Thank you for asking. And for all of y'all that keep asking me to come on, I appreciate that. I really, really do. It's just that I do have a lot of things going on, so I can't make it a lot of times. I'd be wanting to come on every single day, but I can't because I got a lot of things I got to do. I got to take care of. I know Honcho have asked me because that was a long stretch, and he sent me a text. Whenever you're more than willing to come back on, feel free to let me know. It ain't that I forgot about y'all. I ain't forget. Trust me. It's just that. And thank you, Heidi. You say I don't seem unpleasant. Well, I appreciate that. I thank you so much. But yeah, I just I have a lot of things going on, so I can't just I can't do as much as I would like. But yes, you said it, D-Love. My condolences do go out to that 7-year-old girl. But like I said, I want to try to always end it on a high note, on a positive note, with a laugh or something. I don't know, whatever. Just end it on a positive note. But I am saying this here: if you find someone that was willing to put up with you and not seeking nothing out of it, men, you don't think women want you for your money. Women, if you don't think men want you just for sex or whatever, you think that person really genuine. 9 out of 10, I say go for it.
Already. I did say I had a text reading. I thought it was actually from Edman. He was saying about the solution to something we said earlier. He was saying the solution, in my opinion, has to be to raise our children to the best of our ability. Children breed of our environment. If we allow them to do whatever they want, they become rebels that are impossible to control. I hope this situation brings more awareness to parents that this could be your children on both ends, the criminal or the victim. We have to change as a society or else we will go downhill. And he said, great Den, we need man up on more often. I agree, man. I agree. So I definitely agree. And I think what you said about, it starts with the parents, and it starts with building a stable foundation before any other situation. And I think that the parents, again, you have to be complete people, establish complete relationships, then go on to have children. That way you have stable children who know how to operate in this society. And I think we don't have enough of that. And I think that's why we have so many problems that we do. But like Man Up said, man, let's end it on a good note, talking positive. And let me think here. Let's try to think of something good to say. I'm gonna hit y'all with the old Jerry Springer ending now. But I just want to say thank you, man. Like I say, these last few dens have been. It almost seems like they've been getting better. I want to say it almost from the women's sports discussion. It's been real good. I mean, they've been consistently, like I say, they've just been, it seems to be more activity. It seems to be like more people have been more engaged, getting more calls and things like that. So I just want to say shout out to y'all. Shout out to the friends of the Den, man. So, I'm just, I appreciate everybody who came through, everybody who's been showing support. Like I said, we're gonna keep it getting consistent. Den at 10, Sauce at 7. And like I said, I'm going to start doing some little things I think that will help the Den grow. So don't be surprised when you start seeing some Den recordings start popping up, throughout the week and things like that. Because like I said, I got a little bit of a game plan. So we gonna make this thing a thing, man. Because like I said, I appreciate y'all and everybody who's been supporting it, man. So just shout out to y'all. I'll give you a mini mixer action. I ain't gonna give y'all too long on the mixer, but I'll give y'all a little bit of mixer action. So we're gonna be ready starting to wind that down in a couple of weeks. So I'll give y'all some mixer action tonight. So probably about 1:15 or so we'll get on the mixer. But with that being said, man, again, I want to say shout out to Man Up. I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you holding down and definitely bring some very good valid points to the conversation. Appreciate everybody who called in. And me and they did would get it work done. Like we ain't on that level yet, but like I say, if the den grows, who knows? But with that being said, Kenneth is still a simp, and y'all know how I do when Kenneth is here. You know, just to let him feel special. Look, y'all ain't got to go home. Okay, I'm inviting y'all to the mixer. About 15 minutes, I'll be on the mixer. But y'all fucking with that sip, Kenneth, man, y'all guys to get the fuck up out of here.